little ditty in the beginning.
So, we are coming to you from a different look. I'm dressed up because this is a special occasion. A little bit late, but we've got a good show coming for you. Of course, my name is Isaiah Carter, coming to you live from the County of Kings, the People's Republic of Brooklyn. And for the first time, joined in studio, in person, by my good friend, the incomparable Nostra Chavez. Brother, good to see you.
Hey, good. Finally here. The first time we met today was today, in person. We've been living on the internet, being internet friends.
Exactly.
This whole time, and now we're finally, we had our first date together, we had dinner together. It was nice, man. I feel like we got something going here.
Yes, yeah, we do. Yeah,
Sparks are flying.
Don't tell Josh.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. Don't tell Josh.
Still love you, Josh.
Shout to Josh Slocum and the Disaffected podcast. We love it. He is a friend of the show and a friend of ours. We love him dearly.
Yes.
This is, of course, Apostate Radio. We come to you every Sunday night at 8 p.m. And you can follow us at Apostate Radio NY, and you can also follow us on all of the socials, X, Isaiah L. Carter, and this young man, Nostra Chavez, at Nostra Chavez on X. You can also support the show at buymeacoffee.com/Apostate Radio. We'll have the links in the descriptions and everywhere else. But coming to the show tonight, we have a New York City legend. We have a man who's been fighting crime on the streets of New York City for the better part of 5 decades. We have a man that is one of the most down-to-earth people we've ever met. He's been absolutely amazing just in the first 5 minutes of knowing this guy. He is the founder of the Guardian Angels group that has helped to keep New York City subways safe, as well as some other cities, as we talked about. He is currently the Republican candidate for mayor of New York City. It is my honor to welcome Mr. Curtis Sliwa. Thank you, sir, for coming on. Thank you for joining us.
I want you to know,
it's an honor.
I did get a cup of coffee. So if you're talking about the coffee, one of you paid for that coffee.
Yeah. Yes, buy me a coffee. Yeah. You know what's crazy? So I told you before, I'm originally from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And my New York accent, but my Baltimore accent, like it comes out when I say Baltimore, or like if somebody asks me to go like "to" or something like that. But for the most part, like when I'm speaking normally, it's gone. Yeah. I don't know why that is, but it's been here 10 years, so I don't know.
Why don't you just call it the way it is, Body Bag City, Baltimore. Carmelo Anthony, Body Bag City.
Murderland, yeah, man.
Well, he almost has it. Bridgeport there.
Per capita, yeah, and in past.
Father Panic Village,
back in
I
the
knew
day.
that well. P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
I mean, Baltimore had like, what, 300 murders a year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Regularly?
Yeah.
Like, and like I said, when I was a kid.
Yeah, but that's where that whole code snitches get stitches and end up in ditches came from. Yeah. Remember when Carmelo Anthony, you say, what the hell is he doing in with those bloods? This guy's making millions of dollars in the NBA.
Yeah, he's not the only one, man.
They can't let that go.
Rappers too, a lot of rappers.
Some can't let that go.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. We've had a crazy week in New York, though. We've had, if you could cue up, we had a Mexican naval naval boat crashed into a bridge. And people were on those masts.
Yeah, sombreros a little too tall.
And people were on those masks. When they do with that is they all stand on those, and like certain sailors, they'll stand on them and they'll like sing or whatever on the boat, and that happened. That's crazy.
That is bananas.
At least 19 people were injured in that. 2 have reportedly passed away, unfortunately.
Really?
So
Jeez.
yeah,
Oh, man.
It's been a rough,
Sorry to hear
it's been
that.
a crazy week, but
Guys got to measure these things. Mexico?
yeah, I know, right? or not go so close to the masts, like to the pillars. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
To that,
ridiculous. Like measure, just measure. I don't know.
What is it? He's from Baltimore, right? They took out a whole bridge in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, no.
Dude, I had shades of that.
They took out the whole bridge.
The whole thing.
They
I had
lost the
shades.
mast. Now remember, my daddy was a merchant seaman for 50 years. He used to come out of the port of Brooklyn. Also Staten Island. He sailed tankers and cargo ships. So 50 years of sailing. How many seas are there out there? 7 seas, right?
At least.
7 seas. 8 months away, 4 months at home. And then we had him for 4 months, and then he was away sailing.
Wow.
Yeah, but that is odd that would have happened
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
Well, what can you do? So before we go any further, sir, because we've got a lot to get to tonight, please tell us like who you will. Give you a second or a minute or two to introduce yourself to our audience. Let the people know who you are, what you've done over the last several years, and what you're looking to do for this city's future.
I told you 4 years ago when I ran against Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, that this guy would be corrupt and we'd have chaos. Bang! Was I correct?
You were right.
That was right, yes.
I knew this guy for 42 years. And I knew the moment he got elected, man, I said, this guy's going to be like a kid in a candy store. All them shorties he talks about, he chases, to the break of dawn in clubs.
No, I didn't know he did that.
To the break of, I got to tell you, some people who work nightlife, mostly
funny.
women, who are single parents, they got to get home. Mr. Mayor, we got to close up. It's 4 o'clock.
Oh,
we
still
got to
going.
close. We got to go home. Oh no, he's sitting there. He's having a good old time.
Oh, my God.
This man tagged himself to Swagger Man, and that was the beginning of his descent. When they did that riff on Saturday Night Live, that black actor pretended to be Eric Adams, he nailed it.
Wow.
Because that's not what he ran on.
No,
But the moment he got the job, remember, he goes on. What was that guy on CBS, right? Late night at the Ed Sullivan Show.
Stephen Colbert.
That's right, Stephen Colbert. He's going to roll up joints for him and give him presents.
No.
And even Stephen Colbert said, Mr. Mayor, you can't be doing that.
On TV he did it?
TV, giggling,
This is a guy who, remember a few years ago when he cut that video of when he was still in the police force, and he was talking about how to lock guns away from kids.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I wish I'd have pulled it up, but it was the craziest thing I'd ever watched from him. And I'll be honest, I voted for Eric Adams. I voted for him in 2021. Thought he was one of those law and order guys. He came in and promised law and order. He promised normalcy.
Former cop.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Former cop, Brooklyn borough president, whatever they do. You know what I mean? Like we'll talk about that in a second.
Cut ribbons.
You know,
big city.
And I remember when he was. I'll never forget. I went to this event in 2018. I was on a date, and we were at Wingate Park, and I saw he was out there saying, "Yeah, what's good, New York City? We out here," and he's giving proclamations to different performers and stuff. It was okay. I thought it was
It was a concert.
Yeah, it was a concert.
Yeah, well, that's what
okay.
borough presidents do. With our money, they put on concerts.
Throw parties and
So you know what? Let me ask you that question. We could start with that. What do they do? What is the purpose of some of these positions within New York City government? Like the borough presidents. like I said, I've been living here for almost a decade. I still don't understand.
Yep.
Borough presidents, the public advocate, like a lot of these positions, we don't know what they do.
Yeah.
So and what do you plan to do, if anything? What do you plan to do as mayor about all this?
I got you guys by a few decades. I'm 71, so I'm the oldest person running for mayor.
God bless.
Went through the public school system early on, and I had civics every Friday. They don't have civics anymore. I have 3 sons. I asked them, do they teach you history? No. They teach you current events? No. Why not? They don't want to offend anybody. Do they teach you civics? What's that? Now remember, their mother now is the Queens DA, who used to be the Queens Borough President, Melinda Katz. So I know all about what borough presidents do. And all they do is cut ribbons and give out citations. Public advocate, they're gold breaks, deadbeats, slackers. They do nothing except plan to run for a future office, like Tish James. You have Jumaane Williams. He's always running for something. But that's the whole goal. Bill de Blasio was a public advocate, and he became our worst nightmare.
He's the worst.
They do nothing. They got about 60 people on their staff, and I don't know anything they do. It's a form of political patronage. But you see, most people would never know what these positions are because you take it back to school, you learn civics, and they would have taught you what all of these positions are and what they're supposed to do, and then you can come to your own conclusion in terms of what they're not doing. And most of them are not doing anything.
I wonder if that's by design.
Probably.
Like there's like, well, the people who are in charge, like, the less people know, the better.
I mean, no one knows that if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the public advocate office has only been in existence since 1993, and it had power at first, and then a lot of what they actually did was taken out, and then now, like you said, it's just a stepping stone to higher office. But a lot of people don't even know that the mayor is like the deputy mayors, and I don't know how many there are specifically, but the deputy mayors are not they're not even in the line of succession. The public advocate is number 2 in the line of succession. It's crazy to me.
That's why I said early on, when they snatched up Eric Adams and took his phones, and then the guy ended up with 7 burner phones. 7 burner phones.
It's just in case he loses a phone.
Excuse me.
He might lose a phone here and there. You
Drug
gotta have extra
dealers
phones.
don't have 7 burner phones. Terrorists don't have 7 burner phones.
Yeah.
So they snatched him up.
Maybe he just likes phones.
He was on his way to becoming Bobby Menendez. He was going to jail. And they said Jumaane Williams was desperate to become mayor. Yeah, I'm ready. Take him away. And I said, no. As much as I hate, loathe, despise Eric Adams, and he's just a party man to the break of dawn, you do not want Jumaane Williams as the mayor.
Right.
He would probably say, police officers, you're all relieved of duty, you're fired as of now. Rikers Island, just turn them loose. So people thought that was strange. Yeah, but Curtis, you'll have a good opportunity to beat Jumaane Williams. I said, it's not about beating. It said this would be a full-blown catastrophe if we had Jumaane Williams in. Even for 3 months, he could do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Well, because he's a full-blown communist.
Yeah, and then what happened? The call came from the White House, and the president said, Eric, are you prepared to jump? Yes, sir, Mr. President. How high? Well, as high as I tell you. Every time I call you, I got you, man. You're my puppet. So that's what people ask me. They say, are you the Trump candidate? I said, Donald Trump doesn't talk to me. I don't talk to Donald Trump. The only person who is at Mar-a-Lago, the only person who goes to the White House, the only person who talks to him on his burner phones is Eric Adams. He's the Donald Trump candidate, not me.
Speaking of Donald Trump, I might as well bring it up now. Do you have any history with him? You guys came up around the same time in New York. Both longtime New Yorkers, lifelong New Yorkers.
Yep.
He's from Queens, right? He's from Kew Gardens or
no, Jamaica State.
Jamaica State.
I think he was around Forest Hills as well.
Right next to where Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo grew up.
Yeah.
Cuomo's and the Trumps were like two peas in a pod. They were very friendly.
And you're from Canarsie, is that right?
I'm from East New York, Canarsie originally. Yep.
So did you ever bump elbows with him or rub elbows with him in the 80s at all, 90s?
Let me tell you something. There were 4 people who were like lens lights in the 80s. Al Slim Shady Sharpton, the Schmuck, the Putz, Chuck E. Cheese Schumer, Donald Trump, Curtis Sliwa. If being lens-lice was a crime, all four of us would have been in that same jail cell that P. Diddy was in with Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX crypto bandit.
Yeah, man.
Well, we were all over the place. But
Right.
I had a love-hate relationship with Donald Trump. Tell you a quick story. We were both given the New York State Conservative Party Award of the Year, the 69th Street Armory in the summer. He showed up in his tux. I showed up in my red sateen jacket, red beret. Donald, what are we going to do? I said, you're not a conservative. He said, what are you going to do? You're not a conservative. So Donald said, well, they're giving us an award. Let's enjoy the night. That was back when Donald Trump was pro-choice, pro-gun control, and very liberal in terms of his political ideology. And I've never been a conservative. Conservative Party has never endorsed me. I've never sought a Conservative Party endorsement.
Yeah.
So I'm a different kind of Republican because my strength is I'm in the streets. I'm in the outer boroughs, which is now where all the Republicans are. You go to Manhattan, you can't find any Republicans. That's an all-blue borough.
That's by design.
That's right. From Chinatown right on up to Inwood and Washington Heights. That becomes a big problem for anybody seeking citywide office. Manhattan itself, which used to have pockets of Republicans, no more. No more.
I mean, from what I understand, the biggest gains amongst Republicans were in the Bronx.
Yep.
And down here in Brooklyn. It was crazy.
And Queens.
Oh, okay.
Staten
Staten Island, I don't want to disrespect Staten Island at all, but like they've always been a Republican stronghold, no? Like, or am I misremembering?
If we would have eliminated the other four boroughs when I ran in 2021, I won 85% of Staten Island, I'd be the mayor today. We love Staten Island. But Queens is on the cusp. Queens is 60-40. 60 Democrat, 40 Republican.
Interesting.
And could easily this time around become another red borough. But to give you the timeline.
Yes,
when
sir.
I ran against Eric Adams, the loss, I was the first Republican to win the Asian vote. Rudy, as great a mayor as he was, didn't. Michael Bloomberg couldn't bribe them to vote for him because he believed everybody had a price, Michael Bloomberg. So I was able to make inroads. Then Lee Zeldin the following year barely lost to Kathy Crime Wave Hochul. And she is Hochul because she's full of nonsense.
Yes, she
And then
is.
President Donald Trump got 30% of the citywide vote, double what he had gotten in 2020 and before that in 2016, and especially in the Bronx and Queens, in the Latino areas. He did very well with the Latino community. And remember, he held a rally in Crotona Park.
I remember that.
About 30,000 people came and went the whole day. AOC, all out crazy, Alexandria
that's right.
Ocasio-Cortez, leader of the Socialists of America, had her counter demonstration, 400 union members. Hey, AOC, where are all of your sycophants, toadies, and lackeys? So that was a major turnaround. So I start with 30%. We're going to probably have a total of 5 in the general election. So we'll have a battered and bruised Cuomo who will probably win the Democratic primary that's ranked choice. You'll have Zorhan the Magnificent Nami, Working Families Party. Eric Adams, what independent line is he running on today? Every other week it's a different independent line. Some guy named Jim Walden who will probably qualify as an independent. And I'm the Republican, and I also have an independent line, Protect Animals, which is the icebreaker. A lot of people will never vote for a Republican, but if you love animals and you want no-kill shelters, they will vote for you on the Protect Animal line. I get 35%, gentlemen, with 5. You're talking to the next mayor of the city of New York.
I certainly hope so.
Man.
I certainly hope so.
You can pull a lot of liberals and leftists with the Protect Animals thing.
Oh, yeah, because especially women.
Yeah.
More so women than men.
Yeah, men too, though.
They love it. It's the only time I've ever seen Trumpers and Harris supporters ever actually, as their dogs were sniffing each other's backsides, actually have a decent conversation, and then they go back to being haters of one another.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that cute? Anyways, fuck Trump.
Well, this is what they'll say. Because I live on the Upper West Side with my wife Nancy, who is the person who rescues animals, and I'll come out, get a cup of coffee in the morning, and the alpacas will be standing there waiting for me. Curtis, we have a problem on 92nd and Columbus. Could you send the guardian angel? So I give them a litmus test. I said, lady, did you vote for Eric Adams? Yes, I did. Did you vote for Alvin Bragg? Yes, I did. Now you must suffer. No guardian angels for you. Like the soup Nazi. No guardian angels for you.
Soup Nazi.
Elections have consequences.
Oh, my
But
God.
a lot of them, like when I'm getting ready to take the subway, because none of the other candidates take the subway, they'll say to me, you know, you're not that bad. I'm still not voting for you, but you love animals. I can't get beyond that R. I say, watch. You want Cuomo? How old are you? 75? You want to die? Remember, people 70 plus died under Cuomo. No cash bail, Cuomo. You want Eric Adams? You want Zonda? Are you Jewish? Go ahead. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give me a try? How can I do any worse? Then Comrade Bill de Blasio, who is the part-time mayor, the dope from Park Slope, him and his grifter wife, Charlene, was smoking Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush on the back porch of Gracie Mansion for 8 years. Then you had Cuomo
stole $850 million in the process.
Yeah, we don't hear enough about
Where
that.
is that money?
or $1.5 billion over 5 years for a fake, phony, fraudulent fugazi program called Thrive.
Thrive
It was supposed
NYC.
to help the desperately in need, emotionally disturbed person.
Well, de Blasio's are thriving, so I guess it.
$1.5 billion?
1.5 over 5 years. And his fellow
That's crazy.
Democrats, they all railed about it, but they never used subpoena power. They never sort of held committee
How
hearings.
could you not be held accountable for that?
When you have one-party rule,
Yeah, exactly.
even though I'm a Republican, in the 35 years that I did talk radio at WABC, the liner was, Curtis Lee was a politician who says, trust no politician. I don't trust any of them. I
Right.
trust the people.
Yeah.
Verify, then I'll trust you. Reagan said truth, and then verify. I believe, verify first, then I'll trust you.
Exactly.
Because I know how they are. You know, they have conversations. And remember, I've been with Democrats and Republicans. They say, Curtis, don't you know people are stupid? They're stunad. I said, what are you talking about?
Do not.
They're not going to remember what you said 5 seconds ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 days ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 months ago, 5 years ago.
Especially now.
They all
Especially now.
They all have no respect for people. They think all people need sheep herders and are sheep. And I say, no. I trust people.
I have never seen, and I mean this, from most of the Democrat slate are full of people who could give a damn about anything that the people actually want. We had a guy a couple weeks ago, the last show we had, shout to the building bulldog, Charlie Panoff. We had a guy who, Charlie came on to debate one of the guys from Riders Alliance, Danny Pearlstein. We'll talk about that in a second because I want to pick your brain about that. He had been trying to speak with Ben Furness, the CEO of Transportation Alternatives. Called him, he talked to him for about 6 minutes, he recorded the phone call, and then afterwards blocked him. And these are the people
And he
who
told
are,
him to email him too.
told him to
He
email
said,
him.
contact me, I'll talk. Yeah, sure. Email me, and then he just blocked
Blew him completely off.
Yeah, full of
and
shit.
you'll see that guy on social media. He's always posting on X, always like, we're doing this for people, for pedestrians and bicyclists. And it's just like, and it's all of his comments are negative. This is a guy, I've never seen him in public. I've always seen him at these different events. He does not talk to people. And if there's one thing, again, if there's one thing that I've, like Zoran, okay? I live in Brownsville right now. I have not once have I seen a single one of his little cult members show up at my door. Not once.
Now, let me ask you a question.
These people don't come. These people.
You from the Ville, never ran, never will. Where in Brownsville you live now?
I'm right off of. I'll give you.
He doesn't want to give up where he lives. He must owe money to people.
Yeah, no, I don't know. He talks a lot of shit about socialists. That's what
Saratoga. My home stop is Saratoga Avenue on the 3.
I lived on Osborne and Hageman in 1974, a white boy, where there were no white people. My first marriage was to a black woman from the Virgin Islands. You talk about having to run a gauntlet. The brother's outside, why you snacking on a sister?
Oh, shit.
Man, Fights galore. Then I have to cross over the Maginot Line, Linden Boulevard at Canarsie with all my Supreme Cuisine cousins. You blankety blank N lover. You race trader.
It's a Bronx Tale shit.
I said, yo, I'm just going to visit my mother because my father, merchant seaman, he was away. I'm not going to spend that much time. Oh, no, you ain't. You ain't coming here. My own cousins.
Man.
Now, you imagine what that was like? 2 years on Osborne and Hegeman?
Different times,
I
man.
couldn't.
Man, let me tell you, that marriage didn't last too long. She found, what was it, Meyer and Lansky? No, that's Meyer Lansky. Whatever.
That's the account.
We had no money, but we were too young anyway. And then I discovered the Bronx. I went up to Mickey D's. I became a night manager in the Bronx. The Bronx was burning. And that's where I set up the Guardian Angels in 1979 as a night manager at Mickey D's. I had to escape Brooklyn. When I had this idea, patrolling trains and streets, people would say to me, you got all the furniture upstairs and rearranged in the wrong rooms. Are you crazy?
Oh my God.
But the Bronx was so desperate, it was so bad, that when I came up there and got embedded, people actually started listening to me saying, hey, that might work. Brooklyn rejected me. Brooklyn rejected me, even though I'm a Brooklyn boy, and the Bronx, they adopted me.
What do you mean that Brooklyn rejected you? They didn't. Nobody wanted to do the Guardian Angel program? Or?
No. The idea, I first expressed the idea to people that I knew in Brooklyn. First of all, I was having a hard time surviving in Brownsville. Your brothers were like ready to give me a beat down. My Supreme Cuisines wouldn't even let me go see my mother. Damn if I do, damn if I don't.
Right, that's a tough
So I figured,
tough
I go
scene,
up to the Bronx, they're like, what the hell would a white boy want to be living up here in the middle of the Bronx when all white people were escaping? I said, I'm used to it. I'm a night manager. It's okay. My complexion is not my protection up here. I understand that from the get-go, right?
That's funny, man.
that seems.
You're a poet, man.
You are.
You got more nicknames than Trump, man. The way.
I'm like a Gatling gun.
Yeah, you are.
Some people don't like
smooth.
my nicknames, like
I love
Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo. Can I give him a
hilarious.
You can give him a place. This is your
Andrew.
platform too.
Ascendame. Tu si provino sfacim. And like your father Mario, you are. He hates that. And what he hates worse is
my God.
when you call him Andy. Call him Andy, and he has an anger management issue. Andy, not Andrew, Andy.
Andy Cuomo.
Yep.
Andy, I'm not going to do that.
Wow. Come on, you can do that. Nah, you can flip him. I call Zorhan the Magnificent, right?
Well, Zoran is the magical red-green alliance guy.
Yeah, but wait a second. All these guys are enigmas.
They are.
Look at Eric Adams. I said the guy lived in Fort Lee, and they said, you're making it up, Curtis. Let's get serious. It turns out he was living on apartment 22H. I won't give the building that. That's been proven. With a woman named Tracy was either his boo or his beard. I have no idea.
Boo or his beard, you said?
His boo or his beard.
Wow, you're getting a whole tabloid tonight.
How many times have you seen her with this guy in 4 years? One time at the Met, remember when he wore that goofy outfit with the guns on it, never to return again?
I don't remember that.
That woman was working at the Department of Education getting $285,000 for a no-show job.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and meantime, he's telling us, oh yeah, see that shorty over there? Yeah, you're a real lawyer if in fact you are having a relationship with this woman. Then Andrew, you can't let him near females who are in their 20s. Hey, he was on La Mega the other day, man. He's asking that hot woman, he said, oh, you're hot. You want to go on a date? You know, all of his staff was like, no, Andy.
He went full Shannon
He can't
Sharp.
help himself.
But Curtis, he's Italian. He's Italian.
No, yeah, wait a second.
That was his excuse, remember? It's like, I'm Italian.
Yeah. Meantime, I knew his father, Mario. Mario never did that.
Yeah.
And went in the debate. This is what I'm going to tell him. I'm going to have my 2 shots at him in the debate. Andrew, I knew your father, Mario. He never touched a woman. And by the way, you know Mario Cuomo. By the way, Andrew, go get your freaking shine box.
Oh my God. Oh. Wow.
This guy is not hardcore. He acts like a tough guy, right?
But you know what's funny though? the way I see it like this. Like, I personally, when it comes to
It's too much fun.
the slate, right? When it comes to the election here, I actually want him to win the Democrat candidacy for one reason, because it gets the other commies off of there. We've got more communists on this. We've got more communists on this ballot than I've ever seen in my life. From Zoran, who is like, again, we just found out he's married. And his wife creates some of the ugliest art, okay? Like like some of the ugliest communist.
Is that the money laundering art though? Like, is it like Hunter Biden type art?
No,
Sure?
it might be.
It might be.
It might be.
Maybe selling for a lot of money.
But the thing about it is, it's so bad. I wish I should have actually found some images of it. But there's that guy. He grew up in Uganda, okay? How his accent is as perfect as it is, I don't understand, okay? But he just recently, and Whit, if you could pull up his latest video, he just cut an ad for a new ad for his campaign.
Things that make New York City special. For me, it's the delis and bodegas.
Start over, and then
There he is.
add the
Egg and
stage.
cheese on a roll with
and then-
jalapeno.
There we go.
One Zoran special coming up.
This fucking guy.
Small businesses employ nearly half of all New Yorkers in the private sector. They keep the city running, but the last 4 years have been hard. We've seen the dollar slice go extinct, storefront after storefront close, and had a mayor in Eric Adams who has ignored the struggles of small businesses. That's why, as mayor, I'm going to make it faster, easier, and cheaper for small businesses to get started and stay open. First, we're going to cut fines and fees for small businesses by 50%. Regulations are important, but small businesses have to navigate more than 6,000 of them, with far fewer resources than the big chains. That's why, as mayor, I'll appoint a mom-and-pop czar with the clear goal of making it easier to run a small business. $1,000 isn't a lot to our city government, but it can be made.
Pause it right there. Yeah. So you got to navigate 6,000 regulations and all this other bureaucratic red tape. No offense, you're wearing red. All this bureaucratic red tape, and here's this guy, this slickster going, well, we're going to start a mom and pop, we're going to have a mom and pop czar to add even more bureaucracy.
That's what we need, more czars.
What the
Now what?
This guy thinks we're stupid.
Right, but he just ran through a whole laundry list of things you would have in like a bodega, grocery store, convenience store. He never mentioned shoplifting.
Never.
Their number one
Not once.
nemesis
That's not a
that has
problem.
put more of it. Of course, because he doesn't want them locked up. He doesn't want them arrested.
No.
If he had to actually work retail, he would know the most dangerous hours are from 2 in the morning to 6.
Yep.
Whether you're in an all-night gas station, convenience store, or you're in a bodega or a grocery store, where they come in, they pistol whip you, they rob you, they come through like locusts through a cornfield, and it's a nickel and dime business. So if you lose that, you're out of business. Look at all the empty retail
right,
space.
exactly,
And
yeah.
plus, remember, he's Mr. I can run a supermarket better than the rest of them. I'm going to run a government-owned and operated supermarket. Yeah, sure you are, Zoran. That's the old Soviet Union.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
It is.
Let me tell you
What else would
something.
it be? Yeah.
The United States of America has been in existence for nearly 250 years. I mean, 250 years in July, okay? I'm 42 years old, soon be about 43. I got 5 nephews and 2 nieces, okay? I do not want them growing up in a country where they got to stand in line for a day and a half for a fucking potato. I don't want that. I don't want that. Out of all of the candidates, there are 2 that scare me the most. Zoran is one of them. Brad Lander's the other. First off, Brad Lander looks like he looks like Muddy Mud Skipper from Ren and Stimpy. Okay, he looks like that guy. He's always fucking sweating. His eyes bulge out of his head every time. He always looks nervous. He always looks like he's unsure of what to say, and that's why people call him Brad Pander. Okay, this guy, the reason why he scares me is because this guy has been a member of the Democratic Socialists of America since 1987.
Good Lord.
These guys, like 1987, I was 5 years old. So this guy, for
know it's that
most
old.
of my life, this guy has got a hammer and sickle tatted somewhere on his body, and wants to be the next mayor of New York.
No, thank you.
You know what we got to do? We got to go and ask Zorhan this question, because we know you went back and forth to Uganda. Was Israel correct in going in to free the hostages from Idi Amin, who used to eat human beings, as a leader of Uganda? That would be a good litmus test, right? Because we have the hostages now in Gaza. People can have their own opinions about that. I've always said Hamas is the ruling government. They should just end the war. It'll be over.
Nope, they don't want that.
Remember, the whole thing of the raid to Entebbe was to free the hostages that Idi Amin had taken in league with Muammar Gaddafi. That was when he hated us and he liked us and he hated us and he gave up his nuclear weapons and he ended up with a 22 upside of his tuchus and he ain't around no more. What a mess Libya is.
Yeah.
But you can imagine, why doesn't somebody ask Zorhan that question? Since he's from Uganda, if he thought Israel was correct to raid Entebbe to free their hostages. That's when Bibi's own brother, remember, was killed in the line of duty as a member of the IDF.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
Yeah, I didn't know
Boy,
that.
that would be a good question.
Yeah, that would be a great question.
So, okay, so my question to you is, this is your most recent mayoral campaign.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this your second time running, or is this your
Second time. I
Second
ran
time.
in 2021. I had a Republican primary against a guy named Fernando Mateo. I called him a Bill de Blasio Republican, dusted him off, took on Eric Adams. You know, as you mentioned, he was the future of the Democratic Party. It was a coronation. He'll be in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. He was a cop for 22 years. He would tell us he put a bulletproof vest on. I would tell people he was a house mouse. He was always in the precinct. He never busted his shoes. Nobody listened to me. And then crash and burn.
Yeah.
I've never seen a mayor crash and burn like this. Rejected by his fellow Democrats, not trusted by the Republicans, and right now a man without a party. But he's still running. He's got a right to run. I hope he stays in it, because whatever votes he takes will be away from Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo and not me.
So my question to you is, what are some of your biggest priorities? Like, you win because you're a fighter. We see that here, and you love to mix it up. We look forward to those debates. We do. We look forward to the mayoral debate.
Yep.
But I got to ask you, like, what are some of your priorities? What do you want to do as mayor of New York City?
Well, I'm the outer borough guy. None of these candidates are spending any time in the outer boroughs other than northern Brooklyn and northern Queens, where you have a lot of DSA, liberal, progressive. But in the real sort of residential areas of
Blanquitos.
what Eric Adams did in league with the big developers, the corporate developers, and the socialists, is pass this city of yes. Now, it's an unholy alliance, an unholy cabal. Why would corporate developers be dealing with socialists? Well, socialists don't believe in private property. They don't think anybody should own a private home. And the city of yes, the corporate developers, salivate to be able to put up high-rise apartment buildings in the middle of residential areas. So they want.
Yeah.
I say, forget the city of yes. I tell my directors of the departments, which a mayor can do, forget the city of yes, and then legions of lawyers who practice their martial art all day, which is called I sue, go into court, sue the city. You got 1,000 gold brick attorneys that are part of corporation counsel. What do they do all day? We pay them. Settle, 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 never fight a case. And they go out for drinks, cocktails at night, or dinner with their adversaries. That's over. We fight. I'll lose some, I'll win some, but at least people will know you got somebody who's fighting for the outer boroughs. Then, no more shelters. That's it. Not one more. No migrant shelters. And they have these lithium-ion battery warehouses they're trying to put up all over the place. 38 in Staten Island alone. 12 in Brooklyn, 8 in Queens, 4 in the Bronx. Every other week I'm hearing about another one because of Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo. When he was governor, he took offline Indian Point, the nuclear power plant 40 miles north of Manhattan, right before the bridge he renamed Mario Cuomo Bridge. No.
Tappan Zee Bridge. I'm
It'll
sorry.
always be the Tappan Zee Bridge.
Same here.
He took it offline, Okay, what are you replacing the energy with? 1/3 of New York's electrical supply to the city, most of it's sucked up by Manhattan.
Wait. He took Indian Point offline.
Right. Without a replacement.
And it's been sitting offline for
It's decommissioned
years.
now. It's decommissioned. You won't be able to fire it back up. It's decommissioned. And so you get natural gas, but no, like Pennsylvania, which fracks, he didn't allow for fracking on our southern tier. Hydroelectric power, not enough from Canada and upstate New York. And then naturally, windmills, windmills. That was supposed to be the source of energy that would go to these lithium-ion battery warehouses, so that when you hit the summer, when you get your brownouts and you really put a lot of stress on the grid, they would be able to kick in. Problem is, as 60 Minutes exposed, there have been 40 fires, mostly in California, at these lithium-ion battery warehouses. And when they blow up,
It's
there's
bad.
no way to put it out.
You got to let it burn.
5, 6. So instead of being a glutton and saying no lithium-ion battery warehouses, I know we need them, but you put them in industrial areas. Why are you putting them in residential areas right next to homes? Because it's cheaper to buy that property than industrial land property. And so as mayor, I'm going to say, no, stop. If we need them, we put them in industrial areas, no more next to residents. And they'll flood into court, they'll sue us, but we will engage them in court and battle them.
It's almost like they're setting fire bombs in people's neighborhoods.
And why is that? They want them out.
Of course.
Do you remember Kathy Hochul?
Especially Staten Island.
Why don't you all get on a bus? If you voted for Trump, or Zeldin, or Molinaro. How did Molinaro work his way into that? Well, whatever. Get on a bus and go to Florida. And then they had illegal aliens coming back. And many people have fled. That's the problem. We've lost a lot of good residents, blue-collar working class, who pay the taxes. Look, rich people know how to shield themselves. They know how to protect themselves. Poor people can't pay taxes other than sales tax when they go and they buy products. So it's really the blue-collar working class who pay the bulk of the taxes. And that's the backbone of our city. And they're mostly in the outer boroughs.
Yeah.
I've never seen such hostility from these other candidates to there's open hostility to transit workers, cops, firefighters, EMS. I've never seen there's almost a contempt for the middle class in this country. It's like they don't want good people with good paying jobs to actually make it in this city. I've never seen anything like it. Like when I came up here, I waited 7 years, to get the call, and it's like when I first came up here, my job, I'm not going to talk about it on live, but it was seen as something that was honorable, something that people wanted to do. But now it's but now it's like, oh no, we're going to punish you and make it even harder for you to make it up here. I noticed, and this is something I want to ask you, the affordable housing scam these days, okay, where I get it all the time, like NYC Housing Connect. You see these listings, and they'll show you like how many affordable housing units, like by law they have to have them, right?
Sure.
But then you look at the income requirements. And the income requirements are more than most municipal employees make a year.
Correct.
Why is that? How did it start? And what are you going to do as mayor if there is anything that you can do? What are you going to do to fix it?
Well, every one of these Democrats I've heard, since I'm the only Republican, they all try to top one another. So one person said, I'll build 500,000 affordable apartments. The next one, 1 million. By the time they build them 10, 15 years from now, I know I'll be dead. Since so many people have tried to kill me in my lifetime, one of them will eventually succeed. But a lot of us are not going to be around.
We will pray that doesn't happen. We will pray to that end.
Look, I got hit by a cab the last time, 3 days before the election. I could have swore that it was Comrade Bill de Blasio driving with Eric Adams in the back. I could have swore that. They may have thought they could take me out. They broke my elbow, but they didn't stop me. I took a licking and came back kicking butt. I will tell you, we have about 50,000 total apartments at a warehouse now. 6,000 in NYCHA alone in the project. How do we have warehouse apartments in the project? About another 20,000 rent stabilized apartments that the landlords will not rent. And then you go to all these outer boroughs, and a lot of people have 2, 3, 4 family homes. The moment they get rid of a squatter or a deadbeat tenant that lived there for like 7 years and was a tenant, they won't rent out the apartment. They'd rather take a loss, even though sewage rates are going up, water rates, electricity. Thank you, Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo, is skyrocketing. They'd rather take that loss than take a chance and rent it to somebody who's going to give them a nightmare. Because you go to tenant-landlord court, you're dead as a small landlord. You're dead. And who did we raise taxes on? Small landlords, small businesses. We're driving people out of the outer boroughs. And I believe the corporate developers and the big realtors really want that. Look, they've wine-dined and pocket-lined Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo and Eric Adams. And so they want to carve up the outer boroughs because that's where they can do their development. 40 years, no taxes. 40, they call it 421A. They put up a building, and for 40 years, they don't pay a tax on that building, and they claim at the end of the building cycle, they will have X number of affordable apartments. It never is the reality of what they say it would be.
Especially since most of these buildings, I can think of one in particular right now, Brooklyn Tower, downtown, that is still not even close to being full, and was just recently foreclosed on. I mean, that's the big, the Eye of Sauron Tower, they call it. You can see it from, you can literally see that thing from, you can see it from Manhattan, you can see it from, you can even see it from the Bronx. I've seen it there. But like, that building is still very much like wide open. But people aren't going to spend $5 and $6 million for a misplaced skyscraper that should have been on Billionaires Row on 57th Street. No. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've noticed this with a lot of these other developments. I have a friend, a coworker actually, who was telling me about these new buildings out in Jamaica, Queens, right on Sutphin Boulevard, like right next to the Long Island Railroad.
Right off the Long Island Railroad, last stop before you catch the train to the plane, JFK, the E, the J. All these huge buildings. And you wonder, how are they going to house people? Those rentals are not affordable.
Yeah.
They're not affordable. They're not affordable. And I personally believe that the plan was always to move illegals in there by way of Section 8. Because if you can't fill them, you got to pay those mortgages somehow on those buildings. Okay? And most of those buildings, I'm sure you can attest to this, most of these buildings that are going up, the build quality is shit. I've seen them. The walls are thin. And
I went through this before.
That reminds me of something. That's why I say that reminds me of those ghost cities in China, man. Right?
Thank you.
That's like they have these buildings that they build for cities and areas where nobody lives in them, and there's like the builds are terrible. There's like no plumbing and stuff. I know it's not that extreme, but it seems like it's moving in that direction.
Well, when all else fails, what is one thing that Americans love to do because they have clutter? Storage facilities. When a building is empty, Americans, and I'm guilty of this, I'm a clutterer. I don't want to keep anything in the house. My dad was a clutterer. My grandfather was a clutterer. They'll be doing a reality show about me. So you take storage. And if not, we're running out of burial plots. Like Calvary, which you see when you go through the Queens Midtown Tunnel. See that big cemetery there? They got 3 million bodies there. They got 4 sections. Why not have these high-rises? You have your own mausoleums. You go to visit your family, nice air conditioned. It's within walking distance of your neighborhood.
High-rise mausoleums.
Why not? Nobody started
They probably will.
This could be a new entrepreneurial pursuit.
Let me ask you.
You're here first.
Well, I can think of one high-rise mausoleum, but I'll get in trouble if I say it. Yankee Stadium.
What? You Met fan?
I'm a Baltimore Orioles fan. We got problems.
I just remember, as much as I hated the Miracle Mets, and I did, But 69, the Baltimore Orioles came in with 5 starting pitchers who had won more than 20 games, with Frank Robinson, MVP, and Brooks Robinson at third, and Andy Etchebarren, who had a face as catcher that looked like a catcher's mitt, the ugliest man to ever play baseball. And you guys were supposed to sweep the Mets. And you know, that's how John Lindsay got reelected mayor, because he, like Eric Adams, had fallen from grace. He was a Republican. They hated him. The Democrats hated him. So the liberals gave him a line. He was not a Met fan. He knew nothing about sports. So his press flat goes, we're running to Shea Stadium right now. We're going to go into the clubhouse. You're going to profess to be a Met fan. Because I know nothing about sports. Fake it. You're a politician. Oh, my God. He runs in. He sees the big guy, the manager, Gil Hodges, who had big, huge hands. He goes, who's that guy? That's Gil Hodges, the winning manager. Embrace him. Say you're going to have a parade through the Canyon of Heroes. You're going to give them the keys to the city. Next thing you know, he's rocking the float. He's a Met fan. Do you know that propelled him to victory?
Wow. Oh, no.
What a fake, phony, fraudulent fugazi. But that's what most politicians do.
Yeah.
Funny.
I mean, and listen,
Look, Eric Adams, what fan are you? I'm a Yankee fan, I'm a Met fan. You can't be both. Sorry, when the Mets played the Boston Red Sox in '86, I was Switzerland because I hated both teams equally.
That's right, Eric Adams.
And you know, Met fans respect that.
Oh my God!
Because they say you're a true fan. I'm a Yankee fan.
I will say this: I've been to both Yankee Stadium and Citi Field,
Yeah.
which I have actually messed up several times and called Shea Stadium, even though Shea Stadium was across the street.
You
in the
have to
parking lot.
take a reverse mortgage and a payday loan to go to either one of those places. My God! Although I will give credit. Citi Field is a much nicer baseball stadium than Yankee Stadium, which is a mall.
Yeah.
Well, Citi Field is awesome. I've been there for New York City FC matches.
Yeah.
And I love, like, Citi Field is a chef's kiss of a stadium.
You're a Met fan.
I'm not a Met fan.
You're a Met fan.
I am an Orioles fan who have been living up here. If I'm going to root for a New York baseball team, it would be the Mets.
Let me tell you
I
a
will
secret
admit
about Comrade Bill de Blasio, who knew a lot about baseball. One time, my middle son, Carter, was sitting next to him in Citi Field because his mother, the borough president at the time, is a singer. She was singing the national anthem. He was telling him all about baseball. Carter told me he knows a lot. But to show you how the guy couldn't be consistent, he said he was a Met fan. He wore a Met jersey on, number 6. The reporter said, oh, which Met was your favorite Met, number 6? He said, Rico Petrocelli. He said, he was a Boston Red Sox. He said, yeah, I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, but I'm honoring Rico Petrocelli, who was number 6, originally from Sheepshead Bay High School in Brooklyn, on the back of a Met jersey.
Okay. All right.
You understand how these politicians are?
Jeez.
With Eric Adams, part of a New York Yankee cap, part of a Met cap. It's like, just be real. If you don't know anything about sports, just say that.
Okay.
Just say
okay. All right. So I'm gonna just say this. I can kind of I can understand a little bit because you can get these jerseys customized. What I'll do is Ray Lewis, my favorite football player of all time, ex-linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens.
Killed after they killed my beloved Giants in the Super Bowl in Tampa. What was it, like 68?
He killed Eddie George. About that, he killed Eddie George.
Where's he go? Buckhead in Atlanta. He's partying to the break of dawn.
God.
He takes the ship. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh man.
That didn't.
And then he paid everybody off. No, he's a great linebacker. Don't get me wrong. Great middle linebacker.
No. But the thing is,
he should have been doing time, man.
I'm not. He is one of my.
He's too good, man.
He is one of my sports heroes, and the number that he used to wear, 52, I wear on all of my soccer jerseys because I have a bunch of them. All but one have the number 52 on the back.
Did he say soccer?
Yes, I know you don't like soccer.
Wait. That's sacrilegious. You have Ray Lewis, Baltimore Raven, right? Number on a soccer jersey. Kickball, that fake phony fraudulent football they spell with a U. Are you kidding?
Say, this is America.
That is sacrilegious. Smash mouth American football.
I
Now
thought
these
this was
guys,
America.
they fall down on the turf, they fake it, or they win an Academy Award. And
Sissies.
then, what's the score of the game, the final score? 0-0. Oh my God, could anything be any more boring?
No!
Could anything be any more boring?
And DC United just drew
happened to you?
0-0 last night.
I was in the Superdome in New Orleans.
Take it, man.
Colin
Roasted
Kaepernick was
soccer.
running all over the field. This is when he was like unbelievable. There was Ray Lewis and the rest of Baltimore Ravens. Then the lights went out. Who pulled the plug for like 48 minutes?
Roger Goodell, probably.
Oh my God! And the Ravens came back and beat him.
No. Let's not do that.
That's when Colin was number one.
Because the 49ers were getting destroyed that game. And then right as the second half started, that's when the lights went out. Cooled down everybody, and then the 49ers came back.
What a revisionist.
It's not a revisionist.
By the way,
I watched the game.
Ray Lewis was sniffing elk dust, from
really?
their antlers.
Was he
Elk
really?
dust.
That's not real.
Don't deny that.
It
Am I
was
right or
something
wrong?
about it was a spray.
Is that aphrodisiac? What's he doing?
No, I think it was something on his wrist. I don't know.
Elk dust. That's got to be
don't
illegal,
know.
man.
Man, that's freaky deaky.
Yeah, that's an
And remember what he did in
or
Buckhead.
something.
Remember what he did in Buckhead.
Oh, goodness gracious. So
you're running for mayor?
yeah, you're running. He's running
wait.
for mayor. Yes,
I
he's
got to tell
running
you
for mayor.
something.
How about
I've
that?
done talk radio 35 years. 3 times
can
I've
tell,
done
man.
sports talk radio.
Yeah.
Curtis Sliwa Sports
Oh, you did sports
Spectacular.
radio. Oh, okay.
Ray Kelly, the longest serving police commissioner, said that was the greatest sports talk radio of all time.
I'm
I got
enjoying it.
fired 3 times doing sports talk radio.
You also used to fill in for the late great Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes, I remember I remember listening to shows when he did. How long did you do
I thought
that?
you said you weren't a Republican.
Wait, I think you got the wrong guy. Never Rush, but Sean Hannity, the rock-ribbed All-American conservative voice of reason from Franklin Square, Long Island. I substituted for him often.
For Sean.
You heard. I listened to both. You subbed. I remember years when you subbed
Did you sub for Rush?
He subbed for Rush and for Sean Hannity. I remember.
What was he on at that time
What were
in
you-
Baltimore?
I was in high school when you did it. I remember listening.
I got it. Look, I'm getting old.
You might have forgotten.
But-
You might have forgotten.
I don't think I would have forgotten the king of talk radio, Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
I did substitute a number of times for Sean.
I do remember.
Yeah.
I remember those shows. I
So
remember.
wait, when was this? So, because I thought you said you weren't a Republican before until recently.
Originally, I was a Democrat. I voted. My first vote was for George McGovern against Richard Nixon. Then I became an independent. I was chairman of the New York State Reform Party for a while. Until Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo decided he wanted to destroy the Working Families Party because how dare they run Cynthia Nixon against them. So he killed all the third parties, mine being one of them. Libertarian Party, Green Party, Independence Party, Reform Party. We got whacked. And the Working Families Party just got stronger. So now you only have 2. Conservative Party, Working Families Party. And then I became a Republican. But a lot of people at times, the first time I ran, they called me a rhino, Republican in name only. Yet I got all the MAGA people to vote for me. And this time I didn't even have a primary because people understand when you're voting locally, it's not about what's happening nationally. It's about
that's
what's
correct.
happening in the city.
Yes,
That's
correct.
And if I'm mayor, and I have a very good shot, like I said, I start with 30, I get 35 on the mayor. I'm respectful to Donald Trump, the president. But if it's not in the best interest of the city of New York, I can't be like Eric Adams.
Give me a lapdog.
I can't say anything because I might have to go to Gitmo or maybe that Supermax in El Salvador. Oh my God.
So it sounds like
won't be a
basically
puppet.
your slate is very similar to. I will say this: your slate is similar to Trump's in the sense that while Trump says he's America first, you are running a New York City first.
As you should.
Look, you're the mayor of all the people, even those that don't like you. And you have to represent the best interests of New York. Now, the federal government may all of a sudden decide to retaliate and cut money. It's like, this is why I like Andrew Cuomo. A fake tough guy. I'm going to take Trump on. Schmuck, Putz, you ran HUD. You were the chairman of HUD. 95% of the money for our public housing projects comes from the federal government. What are you going to do if Trump pulls that money? How are you going to house these people and pay? Those projects are falling apart now, some of them. I'm in and out of them. Last time that Cuomo was in a public housing project for a photo op, Bill Clinton was president. He has no idea what he's talking about. You can't be tough with a president who controls the purse strings. What you got to try to do is find some room to move.
Exactly. I want to ask you this about you had a bad run-in years ago with the Gambinos.
Really?
That's what I heard.
A bad run-in?
Bad.
That's one way to put it.
I mean, listen. I don't want to.
It was Gotti's time, right?
Yeah. I don't like what happened with that, and like what was that like for you? Like that was.
Yeah, what led up to that?
What led up to that?
Well, when I grew up in Canarsie, I was part Italian, part Polish. So to them, you're a mutt. You're not full Italian.
Yeah.
In fact, when they asked me, what's that last name? It's actually pronounced Sliwa. It means plum. They Americanized it Sliwa.
Because you got some plums on it.
Sliwa.
Right, Sliwa. Like the liqueur you drink. You know, you drink a few of those Slivovices, man, they'll knock you on your tuchus, said Dupa. But anyway, so I tell the Supreme Cuisines there, I'm part Polish. They say Polish? What is that? I said Poland. You know, Pulaski, Kosciuszko. Have no idea. They don't teach about that. In fact, I was the Grand Marshal of the Pulaski Day Parade in 2000, coming out of St. Patrick's Cathedral, beret, tux, and tails. There's a tourist bus from San Diego that's just arrived. They have Guardian Angels in San Diego. They come out. Curtis, wow. We didn't know the Polish people have a parade honoring Roman Polanski. I said, Pulaski.
Oh no.
Kosciuszko, and it's not Kosciuszko. Some morons out there think it's like the mustard. Hey, Kosciuszko mustard. We don't teach this in school or American history. Again, 3 sons that I've had who have gone to school, they don't learn civics, they don't learn history, and they don't talk current events because the teacher said, we don't want to offend anybody. This is not good.
They don't teach
again,
math or reading either.
As mayor, national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to teach American history before any other history. We're going to teach current events, whether you're affected negatively or positively about it. And we're going to teach civics once a week on a Friday, so you know the role of government and what everybody does. That's why so few people vote.
Yeah.
They figure it's a waste of time. They're all crooks. Well, not all of them. Some of them. Preponderance of them are, since they retire with these $1 million investments that suddenly they were able to secure on Wall Street, both sides, I might add, Republicans and Democrats. But still, they don't. Our American people know very little. In fact, our new immigrants know more about the politics of their country of origin than they do about the politics of America.
And that is absolutely, that's inexcusable.
Right.
Like you're coming here legal, I mean, obviously for legal immigrants, that's what we care about the most. But the fact that you're coming over here and you know more about your own country than you do about this one, it's like there seems to be this intentional I'm looking for the word. This withholding of the information about your government.
Yep.
I was homeschooled. Okay, my mom. You know, shout out to Robin Carter. I love you, mommy. I know she's watching. My mom taught me, and my 4 brothers at home. Okay, we understood both, and my father as well. Shout out to Kevin Carter. Love you too, Pop. Taught us the Constitution. Taught us about the 3 branches of government. Explain, like we were taught what worked and how government worked and operated.
Correct.
These kids in public school and even in some private schools, they know nothing about their own country in which they live in.
Correct.
But they know a lot about.
And I've never. But
they've been being taught a lot about how to, like, you know, be guilty about being white, being guilty about being American, the West, how the whole West is colonial, all white people are racist oppressors, learning about slavery all year long and stuff like that. It's like, you know, there's obviously clearly, you know, a preponderance of teaching like the negative side of our history and emphasizing that, when you can't do that. You can't do that in a country. Like, you have to, if anything, you have to emphasize the positive side. You can teach some of the stuff. Hey, we did this, made a mistake here, that was bad. But you, as a country, you got to have people feeling good about their history, because otherwise they're going to be like, well, I'm not going to war. I'm not going to, like, America sucks. Why would I even try to fix this? This place is terrible. Let's just burn it down.
Well, anybody who's had the chance to travel, as I have had, because I have guardian angel groups all over the world, you realize once you return how many freedoms we have that they don't have in these other. Like, I'm in the UK. I was starting the Guardian Angels in London. So I was a frequent guest. We are skilled out American vigilante. To the BBC 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay? So they send a black car for you. They bring you there. They say, Mr. Sliwa, we just have one rule. You cannot defame the royalty. You cannot. I said, but they're deadbeats, they're slackers, they're like welfare cheats, It's, I mean, can I say that? No, that's a crime there.
Still?
That
is it still
is
a
a crime there.
They do not have freedom of speech there.
No.
They do not.
So remember, our basis, Magna Carta, obviously we got a lot from the UK.
English common law, yeah.
But they have no free speech like our free speech. In fact, when you actually go around the world, you begin to realize, wow, we get to make fun of our president, defame them.
And that's so important. Like, people don't realize how important that is. Like, it's not just like, hey, we're having fun and making jokes or being assholes.
Yeah.
Like, you need, first of all, you need to be able to say whatever you want to say, really.
Exactly.
And you need to be able to, like, make politicians get humbled a bit,
And talk radio in these countries, of which I've appeared on many of their forums, boring.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, it's totally boring because they don't freely express themselves. I'm sure they're getting into the podcast realm now.
Yeah.
But I would think a lot of those same limitations
Right.
apply.
Yeah, they
and
can
then
get
if you go
trouble.
to some other countries, they'll put a bullet in the back of your head. So, again, you arrive back to America and you say, whatever limitations we have, whatever we think is a problem, pales in comparison to what these other
Absolutely.
countries have.
And you gotta-
Absolutely.
and we have to appreciate that. And like with civics and actual history, you gotta, like, it gives people perspective, historical perspective. Kids, like, yeah, we're not perfect. We did a lot of crazy things. Everybody did back then, by the way. Everybody's racist back then. Everybody still is probably racist. Like, every country's, like, the most racist countries in the world are not the Western countries. Let's put it for sure, right? They're in other countries, in Africa and Asia and stuff, like, they hate other tribes that are in there, and other, like in India, different caste systems. I mean, it's not even close. Chinese people, like, it's like, but they act like in the school systems that America is like uniquely this oppressive, racist thing, which is, it's the opposite.
And you
We're
know what?
uniquely not that.
You guys just went on a ring-a-ding tangent because you had asked me about the Gaudis and the Gambinos, right? How the hell did we go around the world
Well, we're gonna get back to that, by the way.
We are going to get back to that.
in what was 2 minutes and didn't address that issue? That was very important to me since I ended up with 5 hollow point bullets
Yes.
in me.
Oh, and so what led up to that? So they were talking.
I missed the 6 that was meant for my head.
Ooh,
Oh, my
so you were
God.
talking about, like, get back to it. You're talking about how they were kind of clowning you for being Polish.
Well, early on, when I was in Canarsie. So
what happened after that?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was really traumatic. I'm surprised that I didn't use this as an excuse. I went first to a parochial school in Crown Heights, Josephite nuns. These were Irish nuns who would hit you so hard your mother would feel the vibration. And the Irish nuns told me that it was St. Brendan the Navigator who discovered the New World. I said, you don't understand, sister. I go back to Canarsie, they're all Italian. They're going to say Christopher Columbus. No. You want to pass the test, you put St. Brendan the
Who
Navigator.
the hell's St. Brendan the Navigator?
Oh, everywhere. It's like, look, you go to the squareheads, the Norwegians, they say it's Leif Erikson, Eric the Red. Everybody has their own interpretation of history. But I had to pass that class. So naturally, I put St. Brendan the Navigator.
That's crazy.
And somebody snitched me out, my cousin. Oh. So you turned on Christopher Columbus.
Oh, no.
You turned on Christopher Columbus.
Oh,
it was
my
all
God.
downhill after that. So I grew up with
That's
these
ridiculous.
mobsters choking on their lobsters, right? These jadruls, these knuckle draggers. And I always had problems with them. And in Canarsie, you had the Gambinos on one side, you had the Lucchese's. This is really where Goodfellas took place. Paulie Vario, all of that. The Bamboo Lounge, you got Torch. That was all in Canarsie.
Really?
So these guys carved up Canarsie. I always had a hard time with them. And then, eventually, after I started the Guardian Angels and that, I'm on Talk Radio, WABC, and they're talking about how much safer neighborhoods were with organized crime. The Gottis, the Gambinos, as a whole, excuse me. You know how many stores got torched because they wouldn't pay the VIG? You know how many tools got stolen, how many cars got stolen? That's how you knew you lived in a certain neighborhood. You had 3 or 4 cars stolen. Who do you think was taking them to the chop shop? So they didn't like that. And then Gotti Sr. was on trial for the last time, and they thought Teflon Don. Meantime, they were fixing the juries. And I was talking about that. Oh, this guy is un disgraziato. So Gotti Sr. is on trial the last time. I didn't know that he was being housed with an AM radio. They give you an AM radio. So before he would come into court each day, you know, wearing his threads, he'd be listening to the AM radio in the morning to Curtis, and at that time, my second wife, Lisa, was called Angels in the Morning, and I would do an hour of mob talk. Everything that was said the day before in court. This is like when OJ was on trial, except nobody did mob talk.
Jeez.
Even my colleague said, boy, this is not healthy. You talking about the Gottis and Gambino. He would listen to me and be cursing at the correctional officers. So he summons his son, this real Jadrul, you know, who has a muscle between both ears, John Gotti Jr. And he goes, you got to shut this guy up. No. So he sends his 3 guys, I call it the UN crew, in April of 1992 to tool me up with baseball bats. A guy named McLaughlin, the Irish guy, a guy named Kaplan, the Jewish guy who did not become an accountant, but very good with a baseball bat, and Ruggiero, the Italian. And they tooled me up on the Lower East Side where I live.
Oh, my
they
God.
hit me, I mean, about 38 times.
Wait, how'd you know their names? You know these guys from the neighborhood?
It came out in court. Went 4 times in court against John Gotti Jr. So that first attack came out in court. I survived that. And they didn't think, they thought I'd learned the lesson of Omerta. He'll shut up. You busted up his shoulder, you broke his elbow. He'll know, shut up on the radio. That day I was in Beth Israel on 14th Street. They said, you can't leave, you have a concussion. I said, damn well, I am leaving. I'm going back on the radio in the morning. Everyone thought I was ubats, titched. And I get on the radio and I tell the story of the murder that John Gotti Jr. had committed in the Silver Fox Lounge in Ozone Park because he tried to collect on a guy he had given a kilo of cocaine with his posse. And I described exactly what had happened, how he had gutted him out 46 times.
Oh, shit.
The friend of the guy actually told the detectives when they asked, who did this? He said, I know who did it. That's my best friend. He killed John Gotti Jr. And then a few weeks later, the guy was found hanging from a tree outside of the Aqueduct racetrack with his knees touching the concrete, which in the neighborhood meant he didn't commit suicide. That's what the coroner wrote. His knees, he was killed first and then hung.
Oh, my God.
Snitches get stitches and end up in ditches.
Wow.
So now, Gotti Sr. in the Bergen Hunt, Fish, and Shoot Human Beings Club on 101st in Ozone Park hears me talking, right? At that time, they grabbed his son and blah, 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 blah. He said, you know, this is a murder rap. The guy has pinned a murder on you. That's triple life without parole. Now you got to whack the guy.
Wait, so this wasn't common knowledge? You shared this with the world and nobody knew about it, or nobody?
Only my cousin Butchie knew. When I was trying to protect Butchie, he was a real lush at the time, but he had loose lips sink ships. He gave me all the details, and I knew I was going to use it at the right time.
So why did you use that? Why did you, like, because you know you can get killed. Why did you?
Because they had just tried to kill me.
So you're trying to get ahead. Hopefully
You ain't got nothing to lose.
That's it.
The police will arrest them.
Hey,
and
this
then-
is war. Everybody cleared out. It was like a pet. Nobody wanted to be around me. They figured their bullets could be flying at any point.
Exactly.
But Gotti Sr. tells his son, this is a murder rap. You better take care of him. So he tells his son, you messed up the first time, tooling him up with baseball bats. Obviously, the guy's not shut up. He's talking, you know, like a parakeet.
Singing.
So I want you to go to little Nick Carrazzo and Jojo Carrazzo in Canarsie, where he grew up, who runs the Gambino outfit there. And so Junior had to go there, had to humble himself. He goes, my father wants you Carrazzos to whack Sliwa. And they said, with pleasure. Tell your father it's not even going to cost him a nickel, dime, and penny. we hate this guy. And they put together a plot with a guy named Michael Iannati. He was the gunman. Another guy who was the driver. They stole a yellow cab in the middle of the night, brought it to a chop shop right on the opposite side of Shea Stadium at the time, which was owned by the biggest chop shop operator, who was the son-in-law of Gotti Sr., married to Victoria Gotti, Carmine Agnello. And they basically fashioned it into a moving coffin. They customized it. So they cut the handles off inside and then put them back on with crazy glue. Because the Carrazzos knew, they grew up with me, they said, Curtis is going to fight. Even if you trap him in the back of that cab and start shooting, he's going to fight. And Iannati goes, hey, I'm the hitman, guys. Well, you want me? I know my job. Don't be telling me my job. He's a punk. I put one bullet in his head. They tell him, don't shoot him in the head first. You telling me my job? So what happens? I end up getting into this cab to go to WABC after they had attempted time and time again to be the cab that I would jump into. They got lucky that morning. And what does Iannati do? Who had been stuffed under the dashboard, so I didn't even see him there. And I had told the driver, Madison Square Garden, this is 1992, before Rudy becomes mayor, Dinkins is mayor. And the guy understood what I was saying. My God, most of the cab drivers back then, they were probably tending goats outside of Amman, Jordan 3 days before to get a hack license coming to New York. They don't know where they're going. This guy knew who I was, knew where I was going. I had the Daily News and the Post. I'm reading the sports section because I hated the current events and would make me nauseous. I love sports. And I figured, hey, we're going the right way. Guess what? Instead of going the right way, he went the wrong way. And this monster pops up. He's got a .38 special. And he just starts capping shots. First shot went right through the back window. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, what did you do? Wah, wah, wah. What did you do? No, he missed me. I don't know why, but as soon as that shot wasn't right by my head, I realized, uh-oh, time for me to get into action. He air raids me. He just keeps shooting. And I'm bleeding out. And the cab is maneuvering in a way, it's now gone right and left and right and left, and I feel wind coming out of the front. He had left the front window open next to the passenger side because there was no air conditioning. And it was June 19th of 1992. Oh. So I realized I have one shot only, which is open the door, dive into traffic. Guess what? I pull the handle comes out, bang! He shoots me right between both legs. Ah! Man, now I'm like, I can't breathe. Like barely able to breathe. I got one shot. I got to jump through. There's no partition. I got to jump through that open window.
Gee whiz.
And so he made a turn, the cab driver, and it propelled me. I just jumped with all of my last energy towards that window. I was hanging halfway out. He grabs me by the belt. He puts the gun in the back as I'm trying to hit the ground. He caps the last shot into me, pushes me out. They assumed I'm dead. Oh. I land on B&6 in front of a Hells Angels bar. They come running out. They turn me over. They say, hey, Curtis, don't die on us. And then one of these gabons says, the cab is coming back. The cab is coming back. And all these tough guys come running back into the barn. Oh, no. But it was a different cab.
Okay.
And they scrape me up off the asphalt, take me to Bellevue. You know, they were cutting me open before the anesthesia actually came in.
Oh, no.
So about a day and a half later, I wake up in ICU. I got a sheet on me. It's cold like a meat locker. I got tubes in every orifice of my body because it's cleansing the blood or I'd be dead. These were hollow point bullets. And I wake up, I'm in a fog, and I look to my left, and it's Ed Koch, the former mayor, who was my nemesis, and I thought I had died and gone to hell without anesthesia. Then Cardinal O'Connor there, he had the death rite vestments, the extreme unction vestments we learned in catechism class, extreme unction, then they called it death rite. So he was prepared to do his duty. And then my wife at that time, Lisa, well, I know she was concerned about me, definitely. But I'm wondering, so were my wives, if they were saying, boy, that life insurance policy, man.
It would have been nice. It would have been nice.
I give her the benefit of the doubt. She was a very loving wife and nursed me back to health. It took me a long time. I had to have a reverse operation within the next 2 years, but I survived that. And then the chief of detectives, 6 months later, had a press conference and said, we have investigated all leads on this. There was nobody involved in organized crime in this hit on Curtis Sliwa.
Sure there weren't.
There's a random guy hiding in the
Sure
car.
there weren't.
12 years later, Gotti Jr. gets indicted for this because his lieutenant, a guy named Mikey Scars D. Leonardo, got pinched on 3 murders. They brought him in. They made him they call it queen for a day. Tell us something we don't know. The morning session went nowhere. They gave him a tuna fish sandwich and a container of milk and said, this is on Uncle Sam. When we talk with you and your lawyer for the afternoon session, you better have something good or we indict you tomorrow for 3 murders. So they come back and Mikey Scars says to them, you know that guy Curtis Sliwa? And the FBI goes, yeah, that big mouth guy, man. You know. They hated me, right? Because I'd always call them forever busting Italians. This is before 9/11, forever busting Islamists after that. So,
Oh my God.
They hated my
That's
guts.
hilarious.
So he goes, no, you know, that shooting is Sliwa. I said, well, what do you know about that? I planned it. Now, all of a sudden, what do you mean you planned it?
Whoa.
And then the lawyer said, look, if he gives you the rest of this, he becomes a cooperating witness, right? You cut him a deal. The 3 murders go away. So then he laid out the case, and that eventually led to the indictment of John Gotti Jr., of Michael Leonardi, the shooter, and the driver. Now, the driver cooperated. He told the same story that I told in court. And the jury exonerated Michael Leonardi, the first case. They were terrified of this guy because they had learned that he had machine gunned the guy before that. Shot him like 62 times, shot the wrong guy. He looked like a menacing. So I think the jury looked at him and they said, whoa.
Wow.
And John Gotti Jr., 11-1 to convict, trial number 1. So you get a chance to talk to the jurors after if they'll talk to you. The holdout was a black woman from the Bronx named Mabel. She agreed to talk to me. I said, Mabel, you know, not for nothing, you know, the Gotti Jr. planned my assassination, my execution. And she goes, oh, I don't doubt that, Curtis. I love the Guardian Angels, what you've done. I lived a few blocks away from where you first started, up in the Bronx. I said, well, why did you vote in the negative and not the affirmative? You were the holdout vote. I don't trust anything the government says. 11-1. That guy would be doing triple life without parole.
Wow.
Then there was a second trial, and a third trial, and a fourth trial. Iannotti, the shooter, did 20 years. He's out now. When I was on the radio before I ran for office, I was saying, Mike, I know you're listening, Mike. You know, you took that first shot, you tried to shoot me in the head. Why don't you go for some target practice? And come back and try again. Taunting this
You
guy.
didn't put out the address to where we're at right now, did you?
No. When I asked him, where do you live in Brownsville? He was like, well, I don't think
You
I'm
ready to flip
living
the
in
table
December.
and get behind it?
Right, exactly. Is this table?
But that's the way I've lived
somebody
my
pop
life
behind
with
this
these
thing.
wise guys. Is I've never surrendered, I've never retreated.
You're wild, man.
You know, you take a beat down, you give it a beat down. You know, these tough guys, they always say, oh, I never got a beat down. And you're not a tough guy.
No.
You had to get some beat downs in your life.
And that's the one thing that I've noticed, again, with all of these other people that are running for mayor. It's like none of them are tough people. They're like, none of these, they've never been through anything. You're the only one that, you know, the only one that I know of who's actually been through things, who's been in the gutters of New York City and taken bullets. This is the first time I've...
You know how you assess these so-called tough guys? Because they all shake their hand. No calluses on the hand, and you know they got calluses on their butt from sitting all the time and talking tough.
Indeed.
Look, all these guys, whether they're my friends or not, Trump's a tough guy, right?
Yes, he is.
Cuomo acts like a tough guy. Rudy Giuliani, tough guy. Elliot Spitzer, before he had to leave being governor, was a tough guy. If they're honest, they've never been in a street fight in their life. Never. Now, they can act tough. They can bully people, but they're not tough. Because a tough guy would never blink to that. And you could tell. I know what a a fugazi tough guy is, and I know what a real tough guy. Toughest guy I ever met, Chuck Zito. Man, let me tell you something. Chuck Zito in an alleyway. I'm going the other way, man. Chuck Zito. That's the toughest guy alive.
Chuck Zito, who is that?
I don't know.
Chuck Zito, former Hell's Angel,
Okay.
has been an actor for many instances, and I'll never forget it. I think it was in Scores or one of the clubs. Jean-Claude Van Damme was getting fresh with a woman. And Chuck Zito stood up.
Knocked him out, right?
One punch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was he?
Out
Was he in
cold.
Oz or something?
Jean-Claude.
Jean-Claude, out cold.
Holy shit.
Chuck-
Yeah, I heard about that story.
Yeah, Chuck
I
Zito
know what you're
is
talking about, I think.
one hell of a tough
He's an
guy.
actor, right, too?
Yeah, a legitimate. Well, remember
He
that,
was in
that
Oz or something. I'm pretty-
he was in that prison series.
Oz? Yeah,
Oz?
that's it,
Oz,
Oz, yeah.
yeah.
That's what I knew. I thought so. He's,
Scary dude, man.
yeah, he's a big guy,
Let
yeah.
me tell you something. You would have an X-Lax attack if this guy was in a cell with you and he said, guess what? You're the bottom bunk guy. You're my Maytag. You would do anything to get out of that cell.
Holy shit. So, to that, in the, it's like how can I top that, right? How can you top that? So, out of all of the candidates for mayor,
Yeah.
so far, who scares you the most? And not you, like personally, but who scares you
If they became mayor.
if they became well, obviously we're rooting for you,
Right.
But out of all of the ones who are running, who do you think poses the biggest threat, not to you,
Right.
but to the city of New York?
Yeah, Zoran Mandami, without a doubt. What he is saying about the police department, he wouldn't hire any additional police. It would be lawless, release inmates who regular. A lot of people don't realize that AOC, who like is his mentor, he's the mini-me to AOC, the male version, does not believe in prisons.
He doesn't.
And you're saying AOC
She
doesn't
herself
either.
does not believe in prisons.
What does she believe in? What's the alternative?
Good question, but journalists seem to treat her with kid gloves. It's sort of
Always.
That would be my first question. Is like, you say you don't believe in prisons, AOC. What do you do to people who rape women? Love to hear her answer to
Or
that.
serial killers or mass murderers. What do? You give them, send them to therapy?
Right, but they say these wild, crazy things without ever having been in the street. AOC thinks she was like Jenny on the block, J-Lo, in Castle Hill. She grew up in Westchester in an affluent suburb. She's never spent time in the Bronx. They say she lives in Parkchester now. I walked around that neighborhood with a milk container with her face on it in Parkchester. Have you seen this woman? No. And that's true of a lot of
Parkchester.
elected officials. Where they supposedly reside, they're never there.
No.
They're never there.
Parkchester is a development full of transit workers and firefighters and cops. That's the last place she'd ever be.
One thing I can tell you to those 4 people who will end up in the last dance is I will use that on the subways. I will use the milk container
That's great.
for Andrew Cuomo. We know he's not on the subway. Eric Adams, are you kidding? Unless they're like 12 armed cops with him. Zoran Mandami. He was on a subway. He did a video. He does very good videos. He is on a subway with this black city councilman, Ossie or something like that.
I'll say, yeah.
And they were dancing. I thought
That's
it was
That's Combat Jack's son.
Right. I thought it was like Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly on a subway. I never saw such a clean subway car in my life. I said, these guys have never been on the subway.
No, far from it.
But you see the power of video, which is the medium of this new generation, 30 and younger.
100%,
If you can put out powerful videos, which he does. Remember,
does
he was
great,
a
yeah.
filmmaker. His mother was a filmmaker. He knows how to do good film. I think I do pretty damn good videos because I'm in the belly of the beast most of the time where most people won't go. Is the way to engage people who normally wouldn't vote, or you're trying to get across a point because the others are boring.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want to take a knife and impale myself when I see some of their videos. I said, this is really bad. Like Harry Carey in Japan. Just, really bad. And they spend a lot of money. I'd like to know who's getting all the money for these videos.
Lander strikes me as somebody like that.
Oh, God.
And Zellner, and the other one who I actually just found out, I am his constituent in my neighborhood, Zellner Myrie.
Yes.
Boring candidate. Boring candidate. Watching paint dry. He's the one who preaches, we're going to have like 500,000 new apartments and new residences. And again, it's like, it's this same thing that I keep hearing from these guys. It's like, you want, they're working, they're unwittingly working for, like we talked about earlier, they're working for the developers. I remember last year watching a video of this building in China. It's like a 15-minute city stacked on top of itself. I think they said something that the building had like 20-some thousand people living in that one building.
That is like a little city.
You ever seen the movie Judge Dredd, the second one?
No.
The one with Eric Bana. Was it Eric Bana? I can't remember his name. But the second Judge Dredd movie, the one that didn't star Sylvester Stallone, where the name of the city is called Mega City 1, and the main villain of that movie is like at the top floor of this gigantic, residential project building, which is kind of what what these guys are working on.
Sure.
When I listen to Zellner Myrie and all these other guys, and they're talking about, well, we're going to build all these new homes. My first question is, where the hell are you going to build them? And two, how affordable are they actually going to be?
Well, when I look at all these guys and gals, Adrian Adams, boys.
Oof, that's another boring one.
Adams, and then Ramos and that. To me, they're an enigma. I don't know anything about them personally. And they're very guarded about that also. It's like everybody knows everything about me. They say, oh, you got a lot of cats, you and your wife, right? That was what came out of that first campaign, because we rescue animals, prevent them from getting killed in the animal shelters. Because our animal shelters, oftentimes, if they can't adopt or foster out, they kill them.
Yeah.
Quick question, how long have you been doing that?
Oh, my wife's been doing long before I met her, Nancy. And then when I met her, I'll never forget, we had rescued this cat. It was a feral cat, and she wanted to release it back out. She had always taken care of feral cats. And I said, you can't. This cat will not survive outside. We're going to keep them in the apartment. And she was shocked that I said that. And then when we would rescue cats, some of them were feral. They would stay outdoors. Others would be indoors with us, and we'd adopt them out and make sure they were brought to the vet, got their right shots, was socialized, because she adopts them out in twos. And so that became a part of our first campaign. And in this campaign, for the first time, I have an independent line, Protect Animals. There's a Pew Research study was just released. It said 97% of all Americans, whether they voted for Trump or Harris or they didn't vote, view the animals in their homes as family members.
Yeah.
97%. When they were asked, who do you have more pictures of? Your children, grandchildren, wife, husband, grandparents? Oh, no. Their pets. They spend more money on their pets now.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go to a vet, you were wondering, hey, wait a second, that's what you would normally charge for a human brain surgery. The vet prices are astronomical.
Yeah,
People don't blink. And so we have a Protect Animal line. And you're going to see that's going to be the icebreaker to me, because a lot of women, very sensitive about animals, and they will vote for you even if they would not necessarily vote for a Republican. They need another line to vote for you, because some of them think that if they vote for a Republican, their mother and father up in heaven will cast lightning bolts at them, like my parents. My parents, lifelong Democrats. My father grew up in the land of Lincoln, Chicago. He taught me all about Abraham Lincoln. I go to their room in Canarsie, right? Up on the wall, you had Jesus Christ, Blessed Virgin Mother Mary, Pope John Paul, Polish, you had John Kennedy, and you had Barack Obama. So I said to my dad, why don't you even put up a $5 bill with Abraham Lincoln, right? No Republican goes on my wall. You told me all about how great Lincoln was. Nope, no Republican goes on my wall. Hardcore Democrats. That's when they were the party of the blue-collar working class. My father would tell me, the Republicans only support the rich, the country club, the corporate people, the people who support the blue-collar working class like your mother and me and your grandparents and your aunts and uncles, Democrats. So that's what I was raised as, a Democrat. And now,
Same.
the majority of the blue-collar working class you see around the country have become MAGA, Trump,
Yes.
Republicans.
America first,
Because
yeah.
the Democrats have abandoned them.
Yeah, they don't
Totally abandoned them.
Totally.
They don't give a shit about them, honestly.
I have never, in fact, that's something else that's worried me, because I heard this. I'm gonna tell you a little story that I'm reminded of from in Baltimore. Baltimore used to be a steel plant, a steel mill like city. Okay, you had Baltimore Specialty Steel, which is a place that I remember when I was a little kid. My dad used to work for Roche Biomedical Laboratories, and he would deliver like blood and urine specimens or pick them up and do whatever he had to do. Right. He used to go to Capital Carbonics to pick up his dry ice. Anyways, he used to go to this place called Baltimore Specialty Steel, which was a steel mill over in the East Side. That plant shuttered in 1992, right before my parents moved over there. They bought their house on September of 1992. Place is still vacant. The plant is vacant. GM, General Motors, used to make the GMC Safari and Chevy Astro minivans in a plant on Broning Highway, okay? That plant has been shuttered since 2005. Bethlehem Steel, which was at one point the world's largest steel mill in the southern part of Baltimore County, employed generations of Baltimoreans, including both of my grandfathers, okay? One of my uncles and several people that I knew in the neighborhood. All that's gone, okay? When you talk to a Democrat these days, okay, and shout out to Brandon Scott, who I know, there is no plan for the working class in this country. Down there especially, okay? I think of all of the manufacturing that used to take place here in New York City, and there was a lot. Williamsburg used to be a hub of manufacturing in Brooklyn, here in Brooklyn. Sure. There is no plan from the Democrat Party about blue-collar workers. There's none. And it's heartbreaking to me because I am a former Democrat. I used to vote. My first vote for a Democrat was in 2008. I was raised conservative, right? Kind of the opposite. Was raised conservative in 2000, and then I voted for Bush 43 in 2000 and 2004. But I voted Democrat from 2008 up until 2020. And part of that was because, same as your parents just said, that Republicans were for the rich, and Democrats were the party of the blue-collar worker. That is finito now. Since I didn't even prep this question, but what do you think caused that?
Well, it's interesting.
This
we go back to that first Trump victory, where he was the most surprised guy in the world that he was president. And Hillary was in that fetal position for like a month at Jacob Javits Center, not willing to accept that she had lost. Yeah. My wife, Nancy, was a big Bernie supporter. Bernie the Out-the-Cocker Sanders. The Trump people had a lot of similarity in their points of view about offshoring our industrial base, our jobs. So my wife went to Philadelphia. She was so upset when she saw Bernie wave the white flag at the Democratic National Convention and give over to Hillary, because she had, remember, the superdelegates. That's the only reason she beat the Out-the-Cocker. Yeah. She had all the superdelegates in her pocket, and he basically waved the white flag. She got so pissed off with him, she voted for Trump. I didn't even vote for Trump then. I voted for myself. I wasn't going to vote for Trump. My wife went from being a Bernie supporter to a Trump supporter. And I found out eventually that a lot of Bernie supporters voted for Trump because of that issue.
Yeah.
The outsourcing of our jobs. But you're absolutely right, especially in urban America, where all the plants used to be. Chicago, where my dad was from, they had so many plants there, all shuttered. And look at the chaos in the urban area. Detroit, we can go right on down the line. All these areas, they're industrial based, gone. So that people with limited skills who could get decent paying jobs and then work their way up the ladder didn't have a place to be able to do that.
None.
And so it's become the land of white collar workers. You have to have skill levels. You have to have a college degree. Most Americans do not fit that description. So you're right. We have to get back to some of those. It's never going to all come back.
Well, you know what we're doing.
But enough of that can come back so that people can be gainfully employed, own a home, raise a family, pay their taxes, and live the American dream.
Amen.
Own some property, yeah.
But this is what we're doing now in New York City. In Williamsburg, I was just in Williamsburg, me and my fiance. Great place that had like breakfast burritos, was great. The old Domino Sugar building.
Yep.
Okay? There's a brand new, I won't say brand new because I think the park is it's like 6 years old by now. Domino Park. One of the most beautiful parks, best views I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
There's a building right by it, okay? There's the old Domino Sugar, it was an old refinery, it was an old sugar refinery. Guess what? Rich assholes now. $5,000-$6,000 a month apartments in that building as we speak. And there are other buildings in that general area within Williamsburg that have similar rental rates. So what we're doing now is we're taking those old buildings and instead of, I don't know, repurposing them for some type of industrial purpose, like, because that's the reason why they were built. No, we're gonna build pied-à-terres for more rich assholes. And my thing is, there aren't enough people who make that kind of money to be in these buildings. And it's like, so you're going to put more laptop class white collar people in these buildings and essentially cheat folks out of a place to where they could actually make stuff and build stuff. To what?
Well, remember,
like a monument to your own wealth. Like, what are we doing?
A lot of the condos are owned by foreigners who see that as an investment, a rock solid investment. Should things go south in their countries of origin, which is always a threat.
You can always find enough rich people around the world.
Right. So they'll basically buy a condo and sit on it, or they'll rent it out, and that's what's kept the real estate market booming at times. Is they'll put up these high rises, they're condos, and you wonder, where do people find the money to buy these condos? And we realize a lot of it's foreign money.
Yep.
To them, it's a safe investment. I get it. But it goes back to that argument about affordable housing for working class people. I'm the candidate of the working class people. The rest of these candidates, I don't even think they understand what a working class person goes through.
They don't. Like I said, Zoran, none of his people. I saw a post from Zoran, or like someone. No, was it? I forget who it was exactly. It was someone who's adjacent to him with these communists, and all of them are these affluent white kids who can't raise their arm over their fucking shoulder, but they've got like their fist up, and they're like, "We're out. Like, we love canvassing." I've never seen these people in my neighborhood. I've never seen them. They don't talk to anybody. It's like one thing that some people used to do, that some people joke about. They're like, if they're on the subway, we're going to talk about that too, and coming up. They're on the subway. They see all the white people, right? They see white people and they just wait to see like how long they're on the train, like what stop they get off at. And like most of them will get off at Franklin, right? And then some of them will get off at Utica. And it's like, they know, like we know where they go and where they don't. I never see them in my neighborhood. These people do, the Democratic Party and the rest of these fucking communists, and I hate them. I'm telling you right now, I hate communists. I despise them because these are rich people who think they can tell everyone else what to do while never, ever, ever setting foot in our neighborhoods, never talking to real people, except for one, and that was Danny Pearlstein with Riders Alliance. But other than that, the contempt that these people have for working class people and for middle class Americans makes me absolutely sick. And I really hope that you're the guy. What can you do to kind of turn that around? Like, is there anything that you can do in terms of like maybe slowing some of this foreign investment in these buildings down? Like what can you do in that regard?
First off, I'm not omnipotent. I don't pretend like Adams and de Blasio and Cuomo do. They knew everything. Once you get in there, you're inheriting a mess with the chaos of the Adams administration.
Absolutely.
He just recently put out a call. He said, to my developer friends, green light, go for it, because he needs money. He's got to pay off his legal bills. He owes $3 million. That would be considered an in-kind contribution. He's got to pay that off. He's not getting matching funds because of his corruption. So he's got to start raising money if he's going to be a serious candidate in the general election. But it was in the real estate publication, to my developer friends, basically without saying this, City Hall is for sale. So if you have property, go for it now. There is the city of yes. There's no more zoning involved in the city of yes. You don't have to go to the city council person. You don't have to go to the community board. If you got a project, get it underway. Basically suggesting if I'm not the mayor, better get that project underway. Meantime, kick back to me. Andrew Cuomo's no different. He's in the back pocket of the real estate industry and the corporate developers. So I'd have to get in there first and see who owns what, who's actually occupying it. How many of these buildings are empty? Because quite a few of these buildings are empty.
Yes.
And then meet, obviously, with the landlords and try to figure out, okay, how are you making money on that building? Because you're paying property tax, but there's nobody in there. So is this basically an investment for foreigners? And explain to me how you benefit. I want to see how we benefit from this, because it's a part of the role we play in the world. It used to be countries would house their gold down on Wall Street, you know, at the Federal Reserve. I've been down there. You see all the gold bars. And then you don't often see the name of a country up there. And I would ask the guy, who are all these gold bars for? We're not at liberty to say. They house their gold bars in the United States should they have to flee their country. Likewise, they put investments, Red China. Imagine if you were a Chinese businessman who ran afoul of... who is that? President Xi, what's on second?
Winnie the Pooh.
I don't know who's on
I'm sorry,
third.
Xi Jinping.
Right. The point is, and they want to basically claw back all your money. You're going to try to flee to the United States.
You absolutely are.
Probably have investments in real estate. So I don't want to sound like I know it all. I want to lay it out. It's almost like you got to put the spreadsheet out and see, where are we getting screwed and how is this in our best interest? And explain it to me first before all of a sudden I come down on you like a ton of bricks. The mayor has control of every agency. This mayor is afraid to use and flex his power. He's afraid to take on anybody. You notice, does he ever take on Alvin Bragg?
No.
Why?
He's
Because
scared of
Alvin
him.
Bragg could indict him. So naturally, we end up having a mayor who could be calling out the Manhattan DA, who's basically set the standard for other DAs to turn him loose.
Absolutely.
Is never shamed and never publicly called out by the mayor, because the mayor is afraid that Alvin Bragg will indict him the way he did his female Rasputin, Ingrid Lewis Martin, and before that, Eric Ulrich. So he's terrified of all these people, terrified of the people in Albany, terrified of Kathy Hochul, terrified of Donald Trump. He's a man, not only without a plan, he has no more culions, he has no more huevos. He's little Eric.
I hate to say it, but he's right.
And yet this is the guy, after we finished the election, they released the tape where he said, I kicked those crackers' asses for 22 years in the police department.
No, the fuck he did.
He was all big and bad. But now he can't be big and bad because so many people have a piece of him. And he's an embarrassment. He really is an embarrassment as the mayor of New York City.
I'll tell you what really surprised me about Adams. When he remember a few months ago we went on Tucker Carlson?
Yep.
and basically sang like a bird about how the Democrats basically made him out to be, they basically said that you're the step and fetch it and you need to go and do what we tell you, boy, or, and make our policy priorities, especially with this illegal immigration thing.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's something I do want to get to, because I got three big items I want to get to. We have a clip of Tom Homan, our border patrol czar, talking to Sean Ryan of the Sean Ryan podcast. If you could pull that up, Mike, I believe it's toward the bottom. Sean Ryan, Tom Homan was on here. I'm gonna listen to. I'm gonna let the whole thing play through, and then we'll get your reaction on the end.
I get asked that all the time. I think there's some people that just don't believe in borders. They think we should have open borders, but I actually think they saw future political benefit. Obviously. Because when President Biden signed over 90 executive orders destroying everything that President Trump did in Trump 45, he also overturned the Trump census rule, which means the millions of people they release in the United States, they'll be counted in the next census, most of them sanctuary cities, which means what? When they proportionate seats in the House, it means more seats in the House for the Dems. And also they think they're future Democratic voters. Because here's the long game they're playing. No one talks about this. Here's the long game they're playing. They're playing the long game. They're smart at it. Overwhelm the system. Let's bring 10.5 million encounters to the border. Release them without proper vetting, because all they care about is the optics. If there's no overcrowding, there's nothing to see. If there's no overcrowding, we can say the border's secure, which they did. Border Patrol agents were ordered, process quickly, release quickly. Because if there's no overcrowding, there's nothing to see here. So of course they weren't vetted properly. Didn't have time to vet it properly. Why did they release millions of people into the United States rather than putting them in an empty ICE bed? An ICE bed owned by ICE, contracted by ICE, at $127 a night. Why did they not fill that bed? But they'd rather release them to an NGO, get put in a hotel room at $500 a night, get 3 free meals a day, get free medical care, and not only that, they get flown to the city, their choice. They say where they want to go, we flew them there, Biden administration. Put them in a hotel room, $500 a night, give them 3 meals a day, free medical care. Why did they do that? Instead of putting them in an ICE facility at $127 a night. Because they knew exactly what they're doing. They know if they go into ICE detention, they get a hearing within 40 days. Based on real data from immigration court, nearly 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum will get ordered removed because they don't qualify for asylum. They get removed. That's not what they wanted. Overwhelm the system, because once you're out of the system, you got the detained docket. Immigration court prioritizes the detained docket. But once you release them, now they're on the non-detained docket, sitting in a hotel room. Hearing's going to take 3, 5, 7 years, depending on what location you're on. If you want to exhaust all your appeals, maybe 9 years. They overwhelm the system because they know it's going to take years to get these people through the process. And what happens then? They're hoping for a Democratic administration. Now you can warrant amnesty. They're playing the long game. They overwhelm the...
Your thoughts?
Oh, I concur. Look, we had a situation where Eric Adams and the Democratic City Council wanted to allow migrants to vote. Migrants to vote. Luckily, the Republicans were able to fight that in the state's Supreme Court system because it was clear in our state constitution you had to be a citizen. But that's going to come up in cities around the country. It already has, to allow them to vote. And this way, a Republican will never have a chance of winning, because what's going to happen is you walk into that migrant's home, they'll have a picture on the wall of Joe Biden, and they'll say, it's because of him we're here. We're Democrats forever. This is the way the Irish always used to vote for Democrats. Tammany Hall would meet them when the boat would come into Lower Manhattan. Tammany Hall, crooked Irish Democrats, but understood if we get them some food, some clothes, some shelter, even though it was pretty dreary, try to find them a job, they'll be indebted to us forever. To this day, I'll talk to Irish people and say, why do you feel you can't be a free agent and just assess the candidate? Look, my grandparents told me how helpful the Democrats were. My parents reiterated that. And I understand, because at that time, the Republicans hated Catholics. Oh, they detested Catholics. And the Democrats embraced Catholics. That's why Al Smith is the first Catholic to run for the presidency twice, the governor of New York. He was a product of Tammany Hall. The rest of the country hated Catholics. And so now, isn't it ironic that J.D. Vance is a converted Catholic who could conceivably at some point be a future president of the United States?
Sure. Yeah. It's the replacement game for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when I talk to them about this whole illegal immigration thing that's happening, and I tell them, like, they're getting, I tell all of like my black and Hispanic friends who live in outer boroughs or wherever, I tell them they are doing a dry run of the Great Replacement on us first. In my neighborhood in Brownsville, there are 3 homeless shelters, 3 big ones, okay? One on the corner of Kings Highway at East 98th, and then there are 2 on Saratoga Avenue right by the train station, okay? Each of those shelters were taken up by illegals all through last year and the year before.
Yep.
Okay? They kicked out all of the families who were in those shelters. They kicked them out, and there are still illegals, like some of the military age men. I'm seeing guys with shades of skin you'd only see in like Africa or some other sub-Saharan country. Okay, I'm seeing them still milling about in my neighborhood as we speak. Okay. Meanwhile, those shelters got rid of single mothers with kids, homeless veterans, blacks. You've got some landlords selling their buildings right now because the rents are going, getting sky high. And what are they going to do? They're going to do the same exact thing, Section 8, and bring in these same people. And just like Tom Homan was saying, overwhelm the system. He didn't have he didn't mention the term for it, but I am. That's Cloward Piven. That's the Cloward Piven strategy. Those 2 communists back in the 60s, they knew exactly what they were doing. You overwhelm and overheat the system so that it breaks, and that way you can't get these people out of the country fast enough. Okay? That's why we have all of these judges and everything that are that are trying to gum up the process. They're trying to be sand in the gears, as it were. So I tell my black friends who, again, they call themselves being pro-black. They're not. They're pro-Democrat. Shout to Sonny Johnson. And they don't seem to understand that they were doing this dry run in our neighborhood first.
Sure.
So my question again to you is, what are you going to do to assist the federal government, assist Tom Homan in speeding up the process and getting these illegals out?
Well, number one, they have what they call detainers. Sometimes they're spit out by a computer, and you look at some of them and you say, boy, this doesn't look like a gangbanger or a criminal or whatever, and it gives the opposition to removal of an illegal alien a lot of grist for the mill. And they can say, well, look at this guy. He's been living here for 30 years. His wife is an American. His children are American. You don't want to break up the family. They have their rules. They have their orders. I understand. It's like a paramilitary organization. Mm-hmm. But you got to use some logic with this. I would say, from my perspective, everyone should expect due process. I don't want to see a country where because you got some tattoos on and they claim you're a gangbanger, they pick you up and now you're in that gulag in El Salvador. Look, there are immigration courts. If you were here and paroled in, as the Biden administration said, we paroled you in, and then you had a date and you missed your court date 5 years later, well, what happens when you violate parole? You go to jail. You go to jail here. And then when you finish your time here, we deport you back to your country of origin. I understand what Trump and Holman are trying to do. They're trying to avoid that process, which is lengthy, takes a lot of time, it costs a lot of money, but it is our system. And they haven't changed our system with laws. I just never want to trust the government and give them total confidence that they're going to grab all the right people to deport them. And I think in their minds, they've already said, well, look, 5% of the people maybe shouldn't have been deported in that way, where we pick them up and they're in Gitmo or they're in that Supermax in El Salvador. We have a process, we have to follow it. I never want to empower the government with that much determination where they tell us, well, these are gangbangers. All right, prove it.
Yeah.
That's it. If you can prove it, they'll be gone.
Yeah, that's a good
But I don't want to indiscriminately allow a government, any government, whether it's Democrat controlled or Republican controlled, to make those decisions without somebody being given due process. It's what our country is about.
Yeah, it's one thing to deport people back to their country. It's another thing to deport them back to, like you said, like a gulag, like a maximum security prison where there's like 40 guys in a cell or whatever. That's rough. So if they're not, some people are going to get caught.
Well, what did they do? I mean, that country can make a determination once they're back in their country of origin.
Yeah.
But for us to ship them to the guy in El Salvador who's charging us a VIG to house them.
Right.
What did they do to be put in a Supermax? Don't you think you should at least show your cards? An immigration judge clearly could sign off on that, but I believe you do your time here, then we send you back. That to me will prevent others from coming in. If they know they got to do time here first and then they get sent back, and then that country might incarcerate them in that kind of a situation. I know what Trump and Holman are doing. They're showing that image because they don't want other people to come. I know if I were thinking of sneaking in, I do not want to end up in that place with like 100 gangbangers with tattoos who all of a sudden are going to treat me like they're Maytag. I get it. It's certainly going to slow down, and people are not going to want to be sneaking in. I get it.
Exactly.
Psychologically. But we still have rules. We still have laws.
It's easy for some innocent guys to get, some guy who just works in a kitchen or is a landscaper or whatever, to get caught and suddenly stuck in a maximum security. That's like hell.
You know how many guys have tattoos that left gangs long ago and they never got them removed?
That's true.
And so there is. If they're a gangbanger, I get it. Did they commit crimes? Yes. Okay, we have a process to get them out of here. But in the meantime, we can't just use an easy pass because of Joe Biden and Mayorkas and Harris screwing us over by turning our borders wide open.
Into sieves.
And let's face it, they hoped in the future that they would vote Democrat and be loyal to Democrats to the end of time. That's been the history of our country. When the immigrants came in, and back then at that time, there was really no processing. There was no Ellis Island, so they were just coming right in.
Right.
So there's two other things. This is a big one for me. If you could show, if you could pull up the abominations in green on the streets, yeah, because this is a big one. This is a big, yeah. The first one all the way, like not that one, no. All the way over. No. That Obama, no. I want to talk that first one, the first picture of those bike lanes. That one. Yeah. Let's show that. I took that picture myself. That is 17th Street and Broadway, the north end of Union Square. Okay. And then show the next one, if you could. Yeah, the one right next to it. Yeah, that's the same place. The same like City Bikes. City Bikes have a non-use rate of about 97%. And then with the gentrification of the city streets, New York City DOT has run completely amok. Okay? And it seems that if you could show the next one, Whit, these are the bikers, these are the people who are catered to the most by New York City DOT. That thing had a flat tire, okay? She's on the Brooklyn Bridge, okay? And her argument, because again, these cyclists, these bike weebs that I call them, they have a problem with actually swerving. They're obsessed with straight lines, right? So that one there is now demanding that the bike lane get even wider. That the bike lane get even. It's already taken up one lane of traffic.
Correct.
And now you want it even wider.
That's not enough space for her?
I mean, probably not. It's about 500 pounds. But the point is, that is the rider. That is the quintessential image of who this city's Department of Transportation caters to. Okay, with the bike lanes, with congestion pricing, and all this stuff. What are you going to do to get that trash off our streets?
Well, number one, congestion pricing is nothing more than a tax.
Absolutely.
And it's to make up for all the fare evasion, which we're losing about $800 million. They're trying to use all kind of new inventions at the turnstile instead of enforcement, having police enforce, because a lot of the DAs won't prosecute. It's a trickle-down effect. So basically, hit the riders with the tax because we know they'll have to pay. Or they may not have a license and a registration. We can come after them. The car. Whereas people who jump the fare and don't pay the fare, there's no real way you can get at them because there's no prosecution, even if the cops arrest them. So agree with the Trump administration and the Secretary of Transportation that congestion pricing has to go. So the mayor should be taking on the governor, because that's just subsidizing the MTA, the money-taking agency. My belief on bike lanes there are different lanes if you use it or if you don't use it. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's that simple, and there's a way to gauge that. We have all kinds of ways of determining how many bikes were there, how many an hour, how many a day, how many a night. There's certain parts, if you go into the northern part of Brooklyn, they're always on bicycles. You go into central Brooklyn, no bicycles. You go into southern Brooklyn, almost none except along the Belt Parkway on occasion. So if you don't lose it, if you don't use it, you lose it. I'm not opposed to bicycles. I just feel that they put the lane out. They'll extend the lane, and it's almost like Bugsy Siegel when they built the first casino in Las Vegas, and he told Meyer Lansky, hey, when we build it, they will come. It's in the middle of a desert. Now, it turned out he was correct, but in the case of bike lanes, many of them, I'll tell you a quick story. My two youngest sons, I was on Queens Boulevard, and I sat with them on the bike lane on Queens Boulevard to teach them an old game called Skelly. You make a box, you have these bottle caps, and you flip it around. We stood there for an hour before one bike came by. There clearly was no need for a bicycle lane there. And I think Idanis Rodriguez, the Department of Transportation, they believe, put the bike lanes, and if you put them, they will come. And in a lot of places, you never see any bicycles. And it takes up badly needed space.
In fact, if you could pull up, if you could bring up the X, pull up another, because I had one bookmarked. Let me just make sure we get that, because I want to show you. They just recently put up a bike. They just recently put up a bike lane on East 62nd Street. I think, there we go. That's it. Yep, that one right there. Just recently put up a bike lane on East 62nd Street. I want to show you this from Enforce Laws NYC. This guy, we follow each other. He's a great guy. Scroll up real quick. Let me just scroll up. It says, quote, well, DOT sabotaged 62nd Street, which is the off-ramp to the Queensboro Bridge.
Correct.
Heading northbound off the upper roadway.
I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah. They basically made the bike lane triple wide. Look at that.
Jeez.
So they made, and 62nd Street, that's a busy road.
Yep. Well, let me first correct you.
Why do bicycles need that much space?
Let me correct you because you
Tour de France
referred
in
to it as the Queensboro Bridge, a.k.a. the 59th Street Bridge, a.k.a. the Ed
Koch Bridge, yeah.
Why do we need 3 names on a freaking bridge? Can't we settle on one? But you're absolutely correct. Now, isn't it interesting, and I could be wrong on this, I'm not omnipotent, but the Grubhub has invested so much money to maintain and expand on the bike lanes so that their kamikaze bicycle drivers who do not have a license, who are not registered, can go speeding up and down and scare the bejeebers out of you if they haven't already hit you.
Happened to me a couple weeks ago.
Did they hit you or
They didn't hit me. They didn't hit me. But like I'm walking towards heading to work. I'm walking back towards Grand Central Terminal. I picked something up at Best Buy. The Best Buy we were at when I picked you up. In fact.
Oh yeah.
I'm walking back to Grand Central Terminal because I got to be to work at 2:30, and this deliverista speeds. I've got the walk. I'm in the crosswalk. This fucking guy comes in and almost hits me, and I'm screaming at him, and he's like, fuck you. I'm like, bro, this is how reckless these people are, and they honestly they feel like they have carte blanche. They've been given, I don't know what Transportation Alternatives is telling them. I don't know what they're being told by the DOT, but these people have been, it seems like they just feel like they have carte blanche over the city.
Well, let's look at a few of these. Let's bifurcate this.
Okay.
City bike. How many times crimes are being committed while somebody's on a city bike? You got to look at the incredible number. You think they're actually renting that bike? You think you're putting a debit card in it? They're stealing a freaking bike. There are people riding around with city bikes who never return it, who basically have figured out a way either a fake fob or whatever, and pull it out, and they're riding, and they're almost like doing drive-bys. That's number one. So you got these people.
They're doing that with the e-bikes.
Right, who are terrorizing people. Wow. Then, no ramifications. Lately, the police commissioner said, we're going to crack down on this. They need to have them all registered. You need to have a license. You need to follow the rules of the road. And if not, you lose your bike. And you need to hold the restaurants, who basically subcontract to them, responsible for their behavior. There used to be a place, this is before you guys were born. Don't cook tonight, call Chicken Delight. And people would.
I actually remember those.
Don't cook tonight, call Chicken Delight. And they wouldn't. And if you delivered to the projects, the people in the projects knew they had to tip you more, or you, as a delivery man or delivery woman, wouldn't go in the projects considering it dangerous. And they would put up, this was the funniest, $2.50 check, that bounced, a $3.85 check, and if you could get it actually paid for, you could get a percentage of that back. But
wow,
after a while, these guys were getting into accidents with their cars. Remember, you didn't have a rooster's head on the top of your, Chicken Delight car. It was your own car. And so people started saying, well, you, Chicken Delight, you're basically subcontracting them to do this. You got to take responsibility because they realize they're not going to make any money unless they speed. They're reckless because the more deliveries they make, the more money they make. And eventually Chicken Delight went out of business, as some other businesses have. You really got to put the pressure. I mean, New York City has become a place where whether you're a guy or a gal, and you happen to be a black belt in cooking, where you can cook to kill, people will say that's why God invented takeout food. And that's why Grubhub is delivering with these, what do you call those, driveristas?
Deliveristas, yeah.
What is that name? The delivery guys, delivery guys. And also, I thought the purpose of having a bike was you exercise. Like the old bike I used to have, the Schwinn, a Big Chief bicycle. You pedal. These guys sit on there, they might as well go side saddle.
They're motor
scooters.
They're motor scooters.
What is the hell? I thought the idea is Isn't that part of Bobby Kennedy Jr.? We're going to make America healthy again. Get them on a pedal bicycle. Also, you're not going to be able to go that fast on a pedal bicycle.
Nope.
I got hit with one. I was escorting my wife, Nancy. She had temporarily gone blind because she had contacts. She didn't realize it, that had caused her to go blind. I had to take her to Cornell Medical, the specialist. I'm escorting her as if she's Helen Keller across the street. And this woman is on one of these e-bikes, not even a delivery person, a woman on one of those city e-bikes. And she's coming right towards my wife, and she's not paying attention on the bike. So I took the brunt of the blow, and man, it rattled my bones. From the tip of my nose to the tip, I couldn't go down. You know, I'm Curtis Sliwa. I can't go down for the count, right? I got to tell you, I felt that for 20 days. God. Now, the woman couldn't have been more apologetic. But again, doesn't have a license, no insurance, no registration. Where do you go if, in fact, you are seriously injured? They don't even have a no-fault insurance for these people. And who makes out? Grubhub. And by the way, Grubhub just donated $1 million to Andrew Evil Eye's Cuomo campaign in dark money to a PAC. $1 million?
Right.
Why would they give him $1 million unless they wanted this to continue? Because remember, they can make money hand over fist this way.
Yeah.
And they should be held responsible.
Mark Gorton. That's the name you need to remember. Mark Gorton is one of the largest investors in Lyft. City Bike is owned by Lyft.
Yeah.
And City Bike is a scam. $25 a day to go to take a bike out of the dock, and then you got 30 minutes to get to the next dock to basically compete, or you'll get charged a fee. So you're going from dock to dock, and to get where you need to go. It's the biggest scam I've ever seen in my life. But Mark Gorton, that's the guy. That's the one who's the money man behind that.
And by the way, naming rights, right? Citibank. Citibank gets all the cred, even though they have nothing to do with it, right? Are they paying anything for that?
I'm sure they are.
No.
They're not?
No.
Why do they get their name on there?
Good question. That's what I always
City
ask.
Bike. No, like dead serious. It's City Bike. Go on any of the docks. City Bike powered by Lyft.
Right, but you don't know that. Average people think that City Bike, it's an affiliation to Citibank. The words are exactly the same. The
CITI?
print is the same.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? And why are they the only bike provider? Why do we have a monopoly? I mean, think about that. If you really want to encourage people to ride bikes, I remember they had another provider, and it didn't work out. But you would think if they would open up the marketplace, just like with all these crazy scooters, you go up to the Bronx, they take a scooter a few blocks and then they just leave it there. I've never seen any. I said to the guys in the Bronx, the Guardian Angel, what the hell are all these scooters? They're dumped all over the place. Yeah, they just take it a few blocks and they dump it. You know, you have to have the debit card.
That's exactly what
nuts.
they do.
It's nuts.
The lime scooters.
Exactly, the lime
scooters. Those things are literal trash. Trash on the sidewalk.
To me,
It's
put
ridiculous.
the lime in the coconut.
And then you throw them both on the sidewalk.
But there are all these, right, there's all these alternative forms of transportation. I get it, but they're not regulated. There are no consequences for misuse, and anybody can get up there.
And worse yet, it's like they're trying to force a round peg into a square hole.
Well, they don't want cars.
Right, exactly. They don't want cars. This is why I keep. And I don't.
Well, I'll give you an example. I'm opposed to the city of yes. They want to construct a 20-story place for people to live. 20 floors, no parking. How do you have no parking? Is everybody going to be riding around on a bicycle? Can everyone take the subway? No, it's too dangerous. Or a bus? No. So they basically want to force that upon you. You're not going to have the alternative to have a car. That's what the intention is.
That is the intention.
Now, there's some people, they don't want cars. That's fine. But to those people who want cars, if there's more of a cost than having a car, which there is, and you have to have parking, and maybe you have to pay as much for parking as you pay for your apartment, that's your choice.
That is.
They want to take that choice away from you.
It is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. And it serves multiple purposes. For one, it's communist, and the reason why is because it's the theft of private property. That is the essence. Apostate Radio is officially an anti-communist podcast. Okay, so
That's
I got the impression it wasn't pro-communist, pro-social.
No.
In case you haven't noticed.
You should. In case you ain't noticed, we are.
I come to that conclusion.
Right, we are an anti-communist podcast. But anyways, it's like it's the theft of private property. As human self-estrangement. They think they're helping people become more human, more social, more like, we love you. Everybody will come together if you don't have any private property, if the state owns everything, or if a gigantic corporation owns everything, a gigantic corporate real estate, or like a private equity fund, like, BlackRock or State Street or whatever. Because at that point makes it fascist, because you've got corporations doing the job of government, because it's either a big corporation's going to own your shit or the state is going to own your shit. Either way, you don't get to own any shit. And that's that. That's what it is according to these people. That's the whole thing about City of Yes, Agenda 2030. We talk about this all the time. This frightens me because, again, you're not even giving people the option. You're not giving people a choice. If I want to live in a fancy building and for whatever reason, like you said, if it's more advantageous for me to have a car, okay? If I want a car, that's my choice.
Right.
I don't own a car right now, right? Like I take public transit, and the amount of people that when I tell them that, and the cognitive dissonance that takes place, it's like, you're supposed to be on our side. They don't know how to handle it. My argument is, you're taking people's choice. You're taking people's individuality, their individual movement away. Because what's the natural?
It's the same way with vehicles itself. You want an electric car, that should be your choice. A hybrid car, a gas-burning car, diesel-burning car, that's your choice.
Yeah.
It's a marketplace. And then you make yourself a good deal. Some people love the electric car, they love the hybrids, they love the gas power, they love the diesel, whatever. But they wanted to, obviously, Biden eliminate all that. And some of our governments, especially California and here, Hochul, where they want to mandate by a certain year everything's electrical. First of all, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But it makes people feel good.
Yeah,
saving the environment.
I'm saving the environment.
Environmentalist
right.
cause. Yeah.
And let me tell you, the one thing, if you want to know, like a member of the previous administration that I legitimately hate, who makes my blood boil, Pete Buttigieg. That motherfucker sat there and told people when gas was $5 a gallon and people were struggling, inflation was already high, and gas prices were going through the roof, that man sat up and said, well, you could just buy an electric vehicle. You could just buy an electric car. Meanwhile, I'm going to go buy kids. I'm going to buy a couple more babies, and they're going to be black. It's that tone deafness.
And how much electric cars cost?
What's that?
What's the cheapest electric car go for?
The cheapest electric car, I think the average is like $45,000.
Everybody's got $45,000 in the
Everybody,
bank.
we've all got $45,000 laying around, and that's for a small one.
Yeah.
I think the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3, I think is like it starts at like 35, 40 or something like that. It's a matchbox. Like most of the whole electric vehicle craze, it's over, it's dead. Right? But the whole point about it was, I'm taking people's choice away. You don't like the conditions that we've created? Here's our communist solution. A $50,000 ugly as shit electric vehicle. And meanwhile, if you don't like that, because here's the other part that no one thinks about. Those things don't charge in the cold. They don't charge in the cold. They're very tough to it, if anything. And if something happens where, God forbid, we get into some international conflict and they decide to detonate an EMP, guess what you've got, buddy? You've got bricks sitting all over the road. No one thinks about this stuff.
And how do you energize with electricity anyways? What creates electricity? Are we still burning fossil fuels for that?
Oh, well,
Or no?
I mean,
am I wrong about that?
Well, if you're not using nuclear power,
Yeah,
which is
we're not usually, right?
Andrew Cuomo
Yeah.
took offline Indian Point, a third of our power.
Yeah,
How
so we
do
still
you
got to
do
burn
that?
fuel for that. I mean,
Natural
do
gas?
that?
No, he's opposed to using natural gas. Hydroelectric, you're not going to have enough windmill
gas
power.
stoves.
Not going to have enough.
They wanted to ban gas stoves last year. Or was it the beginning of 2023 when they were talking? Where that big thing was, oh, well, we're going to ban gas stoves, and then Kathy Hochul, because she's Polly Parrot. This woman goes, oh, well, we're gonna. They tried to say, oh, we're not going to ban gas stoves. And then remember, they started harassing like all these coal-fired pizzerias, like Grimaldi's and all of them.
Yep.
Okay, what's the one downtown? The one in Soho? I can't remember the name of it. I went there and I can't remember the name of it.
Joe's.
Not Joe's.
Is 14.
Not Joe's, but it's another one where coal-fired pizza. I had it. The pizza's fantastic.
Yeah.
It adds the coal adds like a flavor to the pizza. And here comes the environment, the DEP, I think it is, and they're trying to harass them about about the emissions. It's always about carbon emissions. Again, you're taking people's choice.
They want the all-electric buildings now. So, no, it's that. They don't have the electrical supply. That's why you're going to have these lithium-ion battery warehouses, because they don't have enough grid capacity. So that's why they'll have them in every neighborhood, dangerous as they are, in order to prevent brownouts and blackouts.
And you said there's a lot of fires and explosions with those, right?
Oh, yeah.
How much pollution does that cause, you'd say?
Oh, God.
It's an 8-mile plume of hydrochloric acid gas. It's a mini Chernobyl. And when you come back, if you don't end up having the same problems as the first responders did in going into the pit in 9/11, your property values have disappeared. Because nobody's going to want to buy property.
Nobody's going to buy it.
And there we thought they cared about the environment.
Last question that I have for you. And I really appreciate you being here. I just want to say, it has been having Curtis on, sir. This has been an absolute blessing to have you on. I greatly appreciate it.
We could have started this. I could have made it easy. You could have asked me one question. Both of you could have gone out to a nice Italian restaurant, had a 10-course meal, come back. I'd still be answering the first question, and you could have picked it up from there.
Now,
I've done talk radio for 35 years.
You made our job easy today, man.
Well, listen, we're going to hold you to that. Because, there's an Italian deli right around the corner that I've been wanting to go to for a minute, so I'm going to hold you to that.
They get some gabagool.
Gabagool.
Yeah.
So, here's my question, right? Our last one of the night.
Yep.
So the alternative for that these communists have presented is, well, if you don't like that we're shrinking the roads, if you don't like that we're shrinking your options in terms of cars, okay, you could just, if you don't like congestion pricing, I give you permission. I'm giving Curtis permission to use this term. Congestion pricing creates an economic apartheid zone. I'm giving you permission to use that.
That's really good.
That's
Economic
heavy.
apartheid, yes.
That's heavy.
When you're paying when the state is telling you that you have to pay $9 to travel through the local streets of the richest, whitest parts of Manhattan, guess what, folks? That's economic apartheid.
That's
you
heavy.
heard it here first.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah.
So, now we talk about the alternative that they offer, okay? They tell us, well, if you don't want to pay your $9, you could just take the train. Okay, so then I take the train. It's full of bums, it's full of crime, it's full of syringes on the fucking roadbed. Okay.
People
yes.
get pushed in front of the
people
train.
getting pushed in front.
Flooding in the freaking.
Exactly. People getting pushed in front of trains that are on their way to work. So my question to you is, as mayor, what are you going to do to make the subway safer?
Well, I've been riding the subway since I was 5 years old, 1959. I took my first ride on what was then the L train, not the LL train, the L train, which stood for the lousy line. Rockaway Parkway.
Still does.
Over to Myrtle Wyckoff, they call that the Hamburg line, the M train. It took you to Fresh Pond Road. It was all German. You could smell it as you arrived. It had the apple strudel from the bakeries, the crumb cake. It was amazing. Now, it was an old system. It was a system in need of repair. But if you've traveled the world, as I have, even in third world countries like Mexico City, their subway system. You go to Moscow, it's a museum on every station. And you say to yourself, rubber wheels in Montreal, stained glass window, pumped in classical music, Paris, rubber wheel, all these places, they're able to run a subway system that not only is efficient, but doesn't have these problems. So, number one, we cannot have homeless people living in the subway system. We cannot have the emotionally disturbed persons living in the subway system. And they always give the excuse, well, there's nothing we can do. Yes, you can. You take them off. The reason that a lot of them won't stay in the shelters is it's one flew over the cuckoo's nest. I mean, there is total chaos in the shelters. There's no hands-on policy. It's Darwinian, survival of the fittest. Some of the shelter residents just got out of jail because their families ain't taking them home. So they show up with their hefty trash bag, next stop the shelter, and then they rule it like a jail gang. You have to impose discipline. More of them will stay in a shelter. The emotionally disturbed need to be in the state mental health facilities that Andrew Cuomo closed down. He had 40,000 beds when he first became governor. He reduced it to 4,000. So we have all these problems. They cannot live in the subway.
He took away 90% of beds?
Yes. He claimed cost cutting and they weren't required. Then we had the lockdown and pandemic, and we needed beds in both the private hospitals and the public hospitals. And I didn't have a problem with that. They had to get rid of patients, some of them emotionally disturbed. They threw them out into the streets, but they never went back to recover them and bring them back once things stabilized. Because remember, back then, people were going into the ICU, the ER, and coming out in body bags. People were loading into the hospitals because people were terrified. We didn't know what to expect. Okay, so you release these people, you should have went back out, retrieved them, and given them the care they're entitled to. The system smells. It attacks your senses. Urine, defecation. You can see it's in disrepair. The system is falling apart. They're making billions of dollars, the MTA, money-taking agency. I don't see the results of that. They have conductors, not conductors. They said the token booth clerks, we no longer need them, they're going to be station agents. I never see them leave the token booth. I have no idea what they're doing in the token booth, but they should be out on the platforms. They should be giving customer service. They have machines.
It's actually, I will, I'm going to just give a little bit of a correction. Station agents are out of the token booths, because remember 5 years ago they during COVID they stopped collecting money.
Correct.
They stopped collecting money.
Correct.
So now what they do is they put on these yellow vests. They put on these yellow vests and they leave the token booths and will assist customers with whatever they, like if there's a problem with the Omni or the Metro card or whatever, and they do that. So I will give them. The problem is, if you've got a fare evasion problem, that's one of the things that could have been fixed. Make the token booth clerks collect money again. They weren't. You could just simply create the technology to put money, cash, onto Omni cards in the booth. If you did it for Metro cards, you can do it for Omni cards, since we're going to be retiring Metro cards at the end of the year. that was the biggest issue. The token booth clerks are not collecting money anymore. That's really the bulk of the fare evasion problem right there. If you're not going to collect money in the booth, I'm gonna hop the turnstile, and especially if I can't read or if I don't know how to work the machine.
Well, that's the other thing. It's not user friendly at all.
No.
How many times tourists are standing there for hours trying to get a Metro card so they can get into the system? It is the poorest run subway system I've ever been on in the world, and that includes third world countries. Third world countries. And we should be ashamed of ourselves because all we want is more and more money in the system.
Yeah.
More and more money in the system.
Charlie brought up a good idea. Wasn't it him that said that maybe we should charge tourists from like foreign countries or whatever, maybe actually tourists anywhere, maybe outside of New York City, or that a little bit more for their Metro passes? Like
Well, I'll tell you where we should
25
charge them.
cents, 10 cents, whatever.
You get on the Staten Island ferry. That's the best bargain for any tourist. You get to go to Staten Island. They don't have anything for you to do on the Staten Island side. Shame on you, North Shore, Staten Island, not to have exploited that.
Yeah.
They're all on the side of the ferry. So many of them, the ferry tilts over because they're all taking pictures of the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, and it's a great scenic thing. The moment they get on the other side, they go around the other, they come back, same thing. They don't pay a penny. It's the best deal that's ever been made. When Rudy became mayor, he made it free.
I've done it.
Right. He made it free. Right. Now, you might say, well, wait a second, the tourists aren't going to mind if you charge them a little bit if they're tourists.
No, if it's a couple, 10, 20 cents.
And for the right,
A lot
when
of
people
tourists.
going to Staten Island,
Yeah.
you have a separate way. But and then not to exploit that on the Staten Island side. They get off and they just turn around and they come back without having anything for them to do on the Staten Island side.
For the people.
That's something. I mean, they used to have the Staten Island Yankees because they had the St. George Stadium.
Wu-Tang
Well, they
should
still
right
have
there.
it,
Wu-Tang should
but
go there.
nobody going there because of the crime. Nobody going there. And they
St.
have
George
a mall
got
there.
bad. St. George is bad now.
Yeah, they have a mall there that Goldmine Sachs just basically took over. It was in bankruptcy, and it is catacombs. It's like something out of the Twilight Zone.
Staten Island Mall.
Yes.
Oh boy.
No, not the Staten Island Mall, which is further out. Right there next to what they call Ferry Hawk Stadium now, Staten Island University Hospital Stadium, where the Staten Island Yankees play. Now they have the Ferry Hawks. But it's a crime-ridden location. Nobody's going to come there. Nobody. And the precinct is right there, the 120. But there's no enforcement.
Isn't that the precinct that had the situation with Eric Garner?
Yes, the 120 right there.
There's your answer right there. These people, the PTSD of the last. I was explaining this to a friend of mine. The PTSD that a lot of people have from the last 15 years, where if you enforce the law, if you subdued a suspect in a way that was a little rougher than normal, you were called a racist, you were called a murderer, you were called a white
Police
supremacist.
brutality.
Police brutality every 5 minutes. And that's this PTSD. It's
But it
a
seems
lot
like
of PTSD.
That's the underlying cause of a lot of the issues in New York. It seems like is lack of enforcement, lack of police, lack of enforcing laws in general, keeping people in jail.
Well, the biggest
They need to be
problem,
in
and
jail.
again, it's traced back to Andy Cuomo, the removal of qualified immunity from the cops. That means they can be personally sued. They are the only agent of government that can be sued now. Now look at Andrew Cuomo, right? Because of his Italian culture, supposedly he got a little too handsy. We've already paid $60 million to defend the guy because when he was governor, he had qualified immunity.
Yeah.
Judges can send people away improperly. How many times have we seen a black man end up being released who did 25 years for a crime he never committed? Who did that? The DA. Who did that? The judge. Who did that? The detective that was testifying. They all have qualified immunity. We have now singularly taken qualified immunity from the cops. So that's why they don't get physically involved any longer. They say
That's
it's
so
just
sad.
not worth not only losing my job, but getting sued, losing my house.
news.
They don't make enough money in the beginning. The first 5 years, they're basically living in the basement of their mom and dad's house on a Castro convertible and making less than $50,000 a year. And Jessica Tisch just took away all their overtime because she had Jeffrey Maggio up there on the 13th floor, who was the chief of the department, basically giving overtime to females to pleasurize him sexually. So instead of saying, well, let's go with him and any of his cronies who are abusing this, no more overtime for the average cops, who for some of them, especially when they first come on the job, they need that to make it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the few things that
and if they don't want it, they don't want it. But there are so many that want it and can't get it now. Because what the hell does Jessica Tisch know about walking a beat? She goes from the Metropolitan Museum to her brownstone, which is between Bloomberg's brownstone and Elliot Spitzer's brownstone on 72nd Street.
Who the hell
That's the only beat she's ever walked.
Who the hell would want to be a cop today in New York?
Well, that's the problem. Normally, the people who would recommend that you become a cop were your fathers or mothers, your grandparents, someone involved in the department. They are now telling their immediate relatives, don't become a cop.
Yeah.
That's why we're not getting recruits.
That's a huge problem. New York City is huge. You have migrants, you have mentally ill people, you have criminals, gangs. What do you think happens if you don't have enough police? The police are exhausted or too scared to do what they need to do to protect people.
And they're already demoralized because the minute they have talked to police
not
officers,
paid enough, no overtime.
not paid enough, no overtime, and then depending on where you work, you're going to end up seeing those same people that you just collared.
Yep.
You see them back
What's
on
the
the
point?
streets.
You probably sit in your car and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep on.
Taunting.
I'm gonna keep on
Taunting
scrolling on
you.
my phone. Why even get out? And who's the people who are most affected by that? Marginalized communities, high crime communities, women. Those. Big guys like us, tough guys like they don't even mess around with us, right? But women on their own at nighttime. Little guys, people who are disabled people who might have a wallet on them or something like that. Kids, children.
Exactly. It's bad.
The woke left should be caring about this, but they seem to always favor the criminals. It really does
They
seem
favor the criminals, and they favor the criminals because the criminals are tools of the revolution.
Bringing about
That's
chaos.
what they are. They want the chaos because, again, like we said,
They can take more
Piven,
power.
they can take more power. They know that the criminals will only listen to whoever allows them the ability to do their dirt publicly and without consequence.
I will say this, knowing some of them, once they've been victimized, once they've had their apartment or their home invaded, they've been cleaned out and they see there's no insurance, all of a sudden they begin to say, maybe I shouldn't have been as naive.
Exactly.
They start moving a little more towards the right. Once they have responsibilities, once they have to pay taxes, once they have to do the things that normal people do, every penny counts. And when you're robbed or humiliated and degraded and emasculated, that's something that will haunt you until the ends of time.
Yep.
And I think also the left kind of pushes people to not have kids and not have families, because once you do have families, once you have kids, you worry about your wife, whatever. It's like, then you are starting to think, Trump's making a lot of sense here. Curtis Sliwa making a lot of sense here. But if you're not, and you just only care about your dog at home, it's not going to get robbed or something like that, and just going out to drink or whatever and party, it's like maybe you don't care so much about that. That's fine. But once you have kids and you have your own family, things. Your priorities change, man. Your values change.
When you have to start thinking about others beyond your own
you can't afford to be
pleasures.
naive.
The one thing that I've noticed is that our current society, the people who run our society, are obsessed with hedonism.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with there is this endless pursuit of pleasure. It's bottomless.
Yeah, it is.
It's bottomless. And honestly, until we start caring about other people, until we start recognizing where we need to improve as people, ultimately, this is just going to keep going in a circle. But I am thankful that there are men like Curtis with the courage to do the courage, and also this thick, tough skin of his, that have taken bullets for this city and are actively out here working for us. And for that, we are grateful. We are thankful to you for coming out and joining us. This has been great.
Yeah.
This has been great. I really appreciate you.
I gotta tell you, it was worth that cup of coffee that it started out with.
I think I need another cup of coffee.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, because we both got long rides back. I gotta go. I gotta go to the Bronx, and he's got to go back to the land of a Pete's.
Land of a Pete's.
Right. Yeah. We want to thank you, everyone, for listening to us, for watching us on wherever you consume our fine show, X, Rumble, YouTube, wherever. We are grateful, and thank you all for joining us on another Sunday night. Next week, we will be back remote, doing our normal thing, and we will be joined by Mr. Zeke Arkham, who
Big
might
Zeke.
be bigger than the both of us.
Big Zeke.
That guy's huge. Big Long Islander, that guy. And we're gonna be.
He's on Long Island. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we're gonna be having him on the show. Got a very, very big June lined up. Got Mia Hughes coming on June the 1st.
Oh yeah.
And a few more people that are in the works. So
Yeah.
thank you all for joining us.
Before we
tonight.
leave,
Go.
Isaiah, we gotta, where can we follow Curtis? Where can they donate,
yes.
support? What do you got? So what's your
That's the
website?
most important thing.
Yes. Yeah, we can't.
Yes.
See, you thought you were going to get away cheap.
Yeah. No. How we? No.
Oh, never that.
Sliwa, Sliwa, for, F-O-R, NYC.com. That's Sliwa for NYC.com. You'll learn everything about my campaign. If you are not throwing nickels around like manhole covers, which I hope you can afford to throw me some moolah shmoolah, some scatto, I get an 8-to-1 match, and then I can compete with the Cuomos of the world, the Zorhan Mandamis, because right now, even Cuomo has admitted, Curtis starts out with 30% in the general election. If I bump that up to 5% more, you're talking to, these guys just had dialogue with the next mayor of the city of New York, and I can promise you this, they will never see the insides of City Hall. That's for sure. Not in my lifetime.
Not even for a tour?
Not even.
Come on.
Nah, great. I can see the pathway for it. And if you guys want more of the same of what's been going on in New York for over a decade, vote for somebody else. But if you want somebody to clean up the city, crime.
Well, let me make it one thing. Some people will say, oh, I can't vote for a guy with a red beret on his head. Hey, let me tell you something. I've had 6 guardian angels shot and killed in the line of duty, 3 dozen seriously injured, volunteered 46 years, as mentioned, shot 5 times with hollow point bullets. I wear this as a badge of pride for volunteer service. What is the number one issue in this campaign again? Crime, quality of life. What was it with Eric Adams? Crime, quality of life. People know this is a symbol. An older generation, maybe not the young huckleberries, but it allows me then to explain to a younger generation what this stands for. And people have suggested, well, you should just wear the suit and the tie. I say, look, who wore a suit and a tie? Comrade Bill de Blasio, while he was smoking Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush for 8 years. All right. Andrew Cuomo, as he fled fearing impeachment to the Hamptons. And then Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, $5,000 customized suits. Where did he get the money for those suits? This doesn't cost that much money. I can't be bought, I can't be sold, I can't be leased, I can't be rented. I'm not ever to be corrupted. How could you fail by voting for me? It can't be any worse than what we've had. Could it be any worse than what we've had?
No, I don't.
It really can't.
It's hard to imagine.
It really
how it could
can't.
be worse, but
It really can't.
there you go. So it was Sliwa for.
Sliwa for, see, he's very good. Sliwa for NYC.com. And again, don't throw nickels around like manhole covers. I could use you. Give me $10. Hey, I get 80. You can't even do that trick at Vegas or Atlantic City. $10 down. Wow, I get $80 if you live in the city of New York. This is incredible.
Give this man some money. Give me some money. Buymeacoffee.com. Me and Isaiah, because I need new drawers.
Yeah.
All right? I got holes in my drawers. Let's talk about this before.
And I'm moving from Brooklyn to the Bronx. So we all need some money up in
We're
here.
in the Bronx, man. You wouldn't tell us where you are in Brooklyn other than Bronx. So where you going in the Bronx?
Wakefield. I'm going all the way to the north.
Wakefield. Closer to me.
Last stop.
Last stop on the
242nd.
tube. Well, second to last. I'll be Nareed is going to be my last stop.
Remember, don't give us. Remember, you wouldn't do that with Brownsville,
true.
right? Ease off a little bit, man.
Yeah. That's our show tonight. Thank you once again to Curtis Sliwa for joining us.
My pleasure.
Greatly appreciate it. Everyone, have a great evening. Get home safe. And we hope that this has been a fantastic start to your week. Thank you all. God bless, and we'll see you next week.